back in time to a time of dances and culture and other good things and other bad things. But we're going to read this awesome script, this script of the show that people love. And we have this lovely cast that looks lovely tonight, as Roger was bringing out for everybody. And I'll go around and introduce them to you. And we have the fancy, fantastic Vicky Dykes.
Hello, I'm Vicky Dykes. Tonight I will be reading Lady Danbury. I'm looking forward to that. And Cressida, and I believe it's Lady Cowper.
Wonderful. Looking forward to those performances. And also welcoming back Roxanne. Surprise.
Surprise! Hi, I'm Roxanne Armstrong. Tonight I'm reading Eloise, Lady Eaton, Lady Abigail, and Miss Clifton.
Very nice, very nice. And welcoming for her first time on Table Read Tuesdays, Kat.
Hi, my name is Kat Wilson. I'm in Gig Harbor, Washington. Tonight I'm reading Francesca, Kate, and Edgy Mama.
Edgy Mama. Yeah, I'm surprised to see a name like that in Bridgerton. Edgy Mama. All right, I look forward to hearing her lines. And we have Erin Lillis.
I'm Erin. I am a voice actor. I am going to be several people tonight, including Violet Bridgerton, Edwina, Lady Whistledown, and others. Did I say that right? Lady Whistledown, yes.
Indeed. And next we have Angel Peterson.
Hi, I'm going to be playing or reading Hyacinth, Prudence, Penelope, Mary, and Genevieve, and I don't know who any of them are. Yeah.
We're about to find out. And we have the great Petra Stedman.
Good evening. In addition to reading action and description for this show that I have never seen, be reading a bunch of other characters, mainly try and keep it to no accent on the action and break out my various Brit sounds for the other ones. So we'll see how that goes.
Awesome. And that's great. You have those skills. I do not. And we have the man with the best collar in all of the land, the great Clint Monroe.
What's up, guys? I'm going to be reading a bunch of characters. I don't want to read them all out loud because that would take a long time, but it'll be interesting. Let's see how I can change them up. And yeah, that's me. Later.
All right. And Roger Anthony.
Good evening. I will be reading a whole bunch of characters too. So enjoy.
All right. I'm sure they will. And we have Heather Lee Cameron.
Hello, my name is Heather Lee Cameron, and I'm from Lethbridge, Alberta. I'll be reading Daphne and Queen Charlotte, and I'm going to try the accents. If my voice fails me, forgive me, I'll do my best. I just want to try and use the accents to honor my ancestry, because my great-grandfather was an immigrant from the UK, and I really want to honor that.
Wonderful. And this is a chance for us to stretch ourselves, to try different things, and like you said there, do our best, give our best. So that's all we can always ask for. And so we will do that now. We will share the script and we'll start reading Bridgerton, episode 201. Rake. And Petra will take it away for us when she's ready.
Bridgerton, capital R Rake. Episode 201, written by Chris Van Dusen, directed by Trisha Brock, based on the Bridgerton series by Julia Quinn. Bridgerton, episode 201, double white revisions. Exterior, Bridgerton house morning. It's a beautiful morning here in 1814 Mayfair, and our family's home is as grand and handsome as ever, as a carriage stops in front of the rose-covered gate. Inside sits a thoughtful Daphne Bridgerton, looking up at the house, seemingly steeling herself before climbing out. Interior, Bridgerton house outside Eloise's room, morning, on a purposeful Daphne striding down the corridor when she sees her huddled family, Violet, Anthony, Benedict, Francis, Francesca, Gregory, and Hyacinth, whispering fiercely in front of a closed door.
Is this the plan?
Daphne, thank goodness you're here.
She requested time.
We do not have time. Stand back, all of you.
I mean, no offense, sister, but I believe you are the last person she would like to see.
What is that supposed to mean?
Are we sure she's even in there?
Of course she's in there.
Gregory, what do you think about that?
Where else? Where else would she be?
Climb through her window. Escape through the chimney.
Oh, quiet. She may hear you.
You do realize I left my child and husband at home for this?
How is little Augie? Can I return to Hastings House with you?
I told everyone this would happen, and now we are to be late for the Queen.
And the Bridgertons begin to argue when
Oh, I hear something.
everyone stills. Sure enough, there's a rustling sound at Eloise's door. A beat, and then it stops. An impatient Anthony sighs, goes for the door handle.
Anthony.
Only the door opens, and maid after maid begin to file out, each one looking more plaintive than the last. And just as Daphne and Violet exchange a worried look, no sooner does Eloise finally appear, feathered, bejeweled, and all done up. Also miserable. As she takes in their smiling faces.
If one of you utters a single word, let us get this over with.
Off our Bridgertons, we smash to interior St. James Palace parlor morning, close on a sullen-looking young lady's miniature.
Too somber.
Another young lady smiling very hard.
Too eager.
Another young lady, more mature at 22.
Too late.
Reveal Queen Charlotte sitting in this magnificent room with Lady Danbury, along with her ladies and Brinsley.
Is this truly the best we can do this year?
Lady Goring delayed her daughter's debut so she could perfect her skills on the harp. At just 2 and 20, the miss is considered a prodigy.
I have heard children just out of leading strings play concertos by Handel on the harp. It is not difficult. It is a harp. What happened, Lady Danbury?
What happened is that you seem to have set very high standards last season, Your Majesty.
Why, yes. Yes, I did.
Interior Bridgerton carriage, exterior London morning. An anxious Eloise sweats profusely as Violet dabs at her brow with a cloth and Hyacinth flutters a fan, all while Francesca adjusts the carriage curtains for shade. But none of it seems to be working as Daphne takes in her sweltering sister.
Just remember to remain composed and control your emotions.
Is death an emotion?
Her Majesty does not take kindly to any hint of hysterics. I found a small smile worked best to appear open and approachable, but not too eager. Now let us eat it.
No.
She's practically melting.
Oh, allow me.
Francesca takes hold of H's fan and starts to fan Eloise, as Daphne shoots a look to Violet, who nods back.
And your curtsy, dearest. Tell your sister how you manage such balance.
Simply locate a stationary object and keep your eyes set. I used a painting nearby. We practiced it several times. You have natural gifts, Eloise.
Do not patronize me. And give me that.
And she rips the fan from Francesca's hand, starting to furiously fan herself. Off a beleaguered Eloise Bridgerton. Interior Anthony's carriage, exterior London morning. On a silent Anthony looking out at the passing scenery. Across from him sit Benedict and Gregory. Anthony suddenly seems to remember something.
Gregory, I have decided to replace your Latin tutor.
But I like Mr. Allen. He can be quite funny.
Benedict leans in, playful.
This is called the distraction, little brother. The Viscount's task of finding a bride this season will undoubtedly require it.
I am more focused than I have ever been, I assure you. And my task cannot be exceptionally difficult. Hastings did it, after all. How hard can it be?
Spoken with such feeling, too.
I do not need feeling. What I need is to have what I do have, and that is a list. Tolerable, dutiful, suitable enough hips for childbearing, and at least half a brain. That last part is not so much a requirement, but a preference, in fact. Mr. Allen is not here to entertain you. He will be replaced by Sunday.
As Benedict trades a look with Anthony, we're off a stoic Anthony, returning to the passing scenery outside. Interior, St. James Palace hallway morning, back with Queen Charlotte and Lady Danbury, now sashaying down the corridor.
I yearn for someone fresh, someone unexpected to turn this season on its head. That is what we need. There is no room for indifference. Apathy is a blight the monarchy simply cannot endure.
Of course, Your Majesty. But remember, a young lady cannot be a diamond unless you anoint her as such. So, if for any reason you do not find one amongst the candidates today,
Do you think she will return?
She pauses.
We have heard nary a peep from Lady Whistledown since last season ended. Perhaps the writer came to her senses. Perhaps she realized taking on her queen was a bad idea and she will never publish again.
It is a convincing theory, ma'am.
Or she simply left for the country as the rest of us did in the off-season, bored by the lack of any real gossip. You do know what that would make her then? One of us.
Interior, Featherington House, drawing room, morning. Penelope, sitting in her usual window seat, book in hand, peers down at the square below. Looking for someone? Nearby, Prudence and Philippa bicker as Lady Featherington tries to calm her nerves with tea being poured by Mrs. Varley. Everyone wears sad mourning colors.
Could we not appeal to the Queen, Mamma? After having mourned dear Papa for so very long, perhaps Her Majesty might extend a kindness and allow us to be presented again.
I see no need to go through all of that again when I myself am already betrothed to Mr. Fincher.
Mr. Finch may very well be, still change his mind.
Particularly when he discovers there is still no doubt.
Oh, hush. The new Lord Featherington shall see to that when he finally decides to show his miserly face. She sips her tea, disgusted. This tea tastes of nothing.
We've started to reuse the leaves, ma'am, not as if we have a choice.
Lady F lets out an exasperated sigh before, I believe Prudence is right. We have sufficiently paid our respects to your dear papa. It is time we re-entered society and without a mourning colour in sight. Even for you, Penelope. How many times must I warn you to be wary of that window? Do you wish to appear like a befreckled beggar spending all day in the sun?
It's not, Mamma. My apologies.
And pen shifts ever so slightly before happily returning her focus to outside the window. Interior, St. James Palace, presentation room, morning, with the Queen on her throne and society members on both sides of that aisle.
Miss Cordelia Pettridge.
And the doors open, revealing a wide-eyed Miss Patridge and her eager mamma. As we begin to quickly smash from lady to lady, all standing behind those parting doors.
The Lady Abigail Evans.
Doors.
Mary
Doors.
Ann Hallowell. Miss Margaret Goring.
Harp virtuoso Miss Goring and Lady Goring smile big. As the Queen lets out an exasperated sigh and Lady Danbury watches from the sidelines, seemingly entertained by all of this. Interior, St. James Palace, outside presentation chamber, morning. Violet adjusts Eloise's feathers, taking a moment to look her anxious daughter in the eye. She takes her face in her hands, reassuring and warm.
It's not too late. You can say I collapsed. I got something unmentionable on my gown. All of the feathers affected my senses. Anything, Mama, to get me out of doing this?
My darling girl, no matter what, you will always be a diamond to me.
If Penelope were here.
Interior, Featherington House, drawing room, morning. As Penelope keeps staring out of the window, waiting. Interior St. James Palace presentation room morning. The doors open, revealing Eloise and Violet. We clock the Bridgertons in the crowd, Daphne offering her sister an encouraging nod, Anthony shifting, a bit nervous for what's about to go down. At the end of the aisle, our queen tilts her head to the side, appraising Eloise from afar. Back to interior Featherington House drawing room morning. Penelope leans forward, peering through the window, and that's when she sees it, and so do we. Down in the square, it's our delivery boy.
He's here.
She turns towards her family, but they pay her no mind, continuing to talk amongst themselves. Interior St. James Palace presentation room morning. Eloise closes her eyes, takes a breath, and just as she's about to step forward and head down that aisle, doors behind the queen are suddenly thrown open. A royal footman enters and goes over to whisper in Brimsley's ear.
What is the meaning of?
And that's when she sees what Brimsley is now being handed, Lady Whistledown. And so too does our crowd, as whispers abound. The queen looks around but can't help but smile, because this was unexpected, to say the least. She rises.
I have seen enough.
But, Your Majesty, there are still...
I have seen enough.
And with that, she snatches the paper from his hand and heads away with it. Eloise watches from the end of the aisle, a smile starting to form too, because she doesn't have to do this after all.
Does this mean I can go?
I do not know what this means.
But Eloise ain't waiting around. She's off. And just as we angle on the Bridgertons, now in the increasingly animated crowd, as more copies of Whistledown are being distributed, Daphne has to laugh, watching as everyone digs in. She leans into Anthony beside her.
Truly, I cannot say I will long for any of this. Best of luck, brother. You will certainly need it this season.
And as we move off of Daphne to push in on a darkening Anthony, taking in the spectacle, we hear it.
Dearest gentle reader.
Interior Featherington House drawing room morning, as Penelope watches the delivery boy in the square.
Did you miss me?
We're off pen, smiling big when we have our Bridgerton titles. Exterior Mayfair Day. It's all see and be seen out here, as our fashionable tone collects its most familiar publication from delivery boys.
As the members of our esteemed ton lazily sojourned in their rustic retreats, this author was doing but one thing.
A trendy Lady Eden marvels.
I knew she would return.
Honing my skills.
A swaggy Lord Fife sighs.
Increased her price
too, I see.
Or should I say, hatching my plans?
Cressida Cowper boasts.
Is she truly that good a writer?
No, even better.
Interior Featherington House, Penelope's room, night, flashback. Close on paper and quills, a hand scribbling out those former words.
I was sharpening my knives.
Reveal Penelope as we realize we're seeing her ply her trade out of time with the rest of our sequence. She smiles.
For all of you.
And as Pen, happy with this word choice, goes to dip her knife/quill back into that ink, interior drawing room night, flashback. Penelope inconspicuously mills against the wall as about a dozen or so lords and ladies, Lady Featherington, Prudence, and Philippa included, mingle and sip their punch at this smallish soiree. We catch snippets of conversation. How do you think she does it?
Oh, certainly not by herself. How could she?
We hang with Penelope, nearing a window where outside a carriage driver holds up his lantern and flashes it, a signal. As Pen stealthily slips out of the room unnoticed, interior Penelope's carriage night, flashback. As Penelope removes a folded manuscript page from the bust of her dress, then lifts the seat to reveal a quill and specifically colored cloak, we match cut to interior printing press night, flashback. Someone wearing said cloak, standing in front of Mr. Harris, a gruff no-nonsense printer.
18, we agreed on 20.
In a shockingly authentic Irish accent, my mistress changed her mind. Reverse to reveal that this someone is Penelope, now dressed as a maid, as she continues, perfect Irish accent and all.
You're new to this arrangement, so I'll say this only once. what my mistress wants, she gets. And for whatever reason, that would be you at the moment. That doesn't make you special, Mr. Harris. Printers in this town are 10 a penny. But there's only one Lady Whistledown, and she can just as easily move her business elsewhere. So it's 18, not a penny more. And the delivery boy need wage increases. They're the ones running the town, while you get to sit here on your lazy arms.
And Harris just nods, slack-jawed.
Yes, ma'am.
Then my mistress thanks you for your service.
Off a badass pen, handing over her manuscript with a smile. Interior, Featherington House, Penelope's room, night, flashback. Quick pops as Penelope closes her bedroom door behind her, drags a chair under the handle, and proceeds to move a table out of the way in order to lift a floorboard on the ground.
Questions abound as to this author's identity and means. Seeking those answers shall prove fruitless indeed.
And now we see what's hidden beneath that floorboard, a treasure trove of books. She takes one out and opens it. It's hollow with coins inside. All of these books have coins inside. The Whistledown Riches. Off pen, a prideful look on her face. Interior, Lady Featherington House, drawing room, morning. Back in the present, with Penelope rising from her window seat as a footman and delivers the latest Whistledown to her all too eager mother and sisters.
I'm off to the market with my maid, Mama. I have just a tiny bit of pin money left, and
Lady F just kind of waves her invisible child away.
There is, of course, another unknown identity at present, though this one you will be able to unearth.
Interior, St. James Palace, parlor, morning. Queen Charlotte and Lady Danbury sip tea after the aborted presentation.
I speak of the season's diamond, wherever she may be. Your move, Your Majesty.
The Queen lowers her copy of Whistledown with a faint smile.
Well, the writer did manage to make the morning somewhat memorable. I will give her that. But she must know I would be hard-pressed to find even a paste jewel among the horrid parades of milk shop debutantes, let alone a diamond.
It is a shame, Your Majesty.
Lady D sips her tea and then casually adds,
Oh, I almost forgot. Lady Mary Sharma wrote to me. She is returning to London for the season.
To beg forgiveness for her previous poor judgment, I should hope.
Oh, I have no doubt, Your Majesty. But she brings with her 2 daughters, both unwed. Rather intriguing, do you not think?
The Queen nods, nonchalant. Sure.
I have offered them my home for the season. I will, of course, be making their introductions. How odd, I forgot to make mention of it. Completely slipped my mind.
And we're off Lady D planting ideas Inception style. Interior, Bridgerton House, drawing room, day. Benedict sketches as Violet and Hyacinth eat casually. Across the room, Francesca plays pianoforte while Eloise practices her steps with Gregory, and an exasperated dance master, 50s sour little man, looks on.
1, 2, 1, 2.
I do not think she's very good.
I believe she can hear you.
I can hear you.
Ow! Watch my feet!
Might we be done?
As Benedict and Hyacinth snicker,
If you are to catch the Queen's eye after this morning's interruption, then you must be perfection.
I believe it was the interruption that was perfection.
Shocking that Eloise Bridgerton was not named this season's diamond after all, wasn't it?
and he shoots Eloise a mocking look as a perturbed Anthony enters.
Was anyone else aware that the dear Colin has apparently decided to add Albania or some such place to his itinerary as he gads about the world?
No, but how happy for him that he can simply decide to do that.
Joining us for tea, Anthony.
I'm afraid I must pass. Too many calls on my funds today. Now that the season has started, I shall need to fill your coffers at the Modiste and oversee the hiring of a few extra staff. And your ring, when you have the chance, I shall need it. The fields by Fairy Hollow, I was thinking we might hold off on leasing them this year due to the hard frost.
I beg your pardon?
The frost hardens the soil, saps it of nutrients.
That is very well. But you requested my ring?
Father's betrothal ring.
I thought all the young ladies looked beautiful.
Mhm.
Not particularly.
Not in particularly. And all of the young ladies look the same, like young ladies. I should simply like to be prepared when the opportunity presents itself.
The opportunity?
I have already compiled an index of the season's eligible misses and have arranged interviews.
And now everyone stops what they're doing. He did what? Violet forces a smile.
Interviews? Dearest, I shall be more than happy to give you my ring when you find someone with whom you are very much in love. Besides, it is in safekeeping at Aubrey Hall.
Very well.
As Anthony crams food into his mouth and begins to go, a worried Violet turns to Benedict.
See that he is quite well.
I am not in need of coddling. I assure you all, everything is in order.
And as Anthony goes to check his pocket watch, that tick-tick-ticking launches us into a sequence. Exterior, Mayfair, interior, Anthony's carriage day. Hooves gallop along the road as we find Anthony pulling out a list. Miss Cordelia Patridge apparently at the top. Exterior, Rotten Road day. Anthony and Miss Patridge promenade. Miss Patridge behind.
Do you look forward to being a mother?
Oh, very much. I am quite close with my brothers and sisters. I love children.
And what number do you have in mind?
Of children? 4 or 5? No, perhaps 6.
Rather indecisive, yes?
Exterior, Mayfair, interior, Anthony's carriage day. As Anthony crosses Miss Patridge's name off his list, interior, Gunter's day. Anthony sits over ice cream with Lady Abigail, her edgy mama in earshot.
3 children is what I have always wanted, my lord.
And how will you raise them?
With love and affection, certainly.
And what if, say, one of your daughters has a penchant for overspending? How would you deal with that?
And a thrown Lady Abigail looks over to her mama for help, but she doesn't know quite how to answer either.
Yes, I suppose,
Exterior, Mayfair, interior, Anthony's carriage day. As Anthony crosses Lady Abigail's name off of his list, interior, drawing room day. Anthony, starting to grow weary, eyes Miss Goring as she comes to a grand finish on her harp. Lady Goring claps.
The harp is a wonderful instrument, my lord, teaching one patience, strength, and an appreciation for beauty, of course.
But do you read?
Books?
Exterior, Mayfair, interior, Anthony's carriage day. As Anthony crosses Miss Goring's name off of his list, interior, Anthony's apartment, study, night. Anthony enters purposefully, trailed by his valet, Nelson, 50s.
How difficult is it to find a decent Latin tutor these days? I will not have Gregory falling behind any more than he already is. And we must secure a new lady's maid for Eloise, now that she is out. Ensure she is even more strong-willed than the last. What are those?
Accounts requiring your signature, my lord.
Interior, brothel, dawn. You'll have to forgive my minor jaw drop. I forgot there was sex in the show. Anthony exhales as he rolls off a courtesan. He stands naked, fishing in his pocket for some coins, the dead in his eyes deepening as things start speeding up. Exterior, Rotten Road day, promenading with Miss Hallowell, mama in tow.
I am fluent in French, Italian, Latin.
And you're Greek?
Interior, Gunter's day, ice cream with Miss Eaton and the encouraging Lady Eaton. I think that's me. Oh.
I ride, I paint, I sing, I dance. I can divide and multiply. I even construct my own hats.
Interior, drawing room night, dancing with Miss Clifton, who's presently stepping all over his toes.
Miss Clifton.
Oh, apologies, my lord. I much prefer a quadrille.
Exterior Mayfair, interior Anthony's carriage, day. Bye-bye, Mrs. Hallowell, Eaton, Clifton. Interior Anthony's apartment, study, night. The scratchy sound of Anthony's pen signing paperwork. As we intercut quick pops, Anthony's routine jumbling into a cacophony of sound. Pocket watch ticks, a pen scratching out a name, a ledger signed, a woman's quick moan, the jangle of coins ad infinitum. Then finally, Anthony finishes signing the stack of documents before him. He sighs, relieved, until...
5 and 20 more, my lord.
Nelson places more documents in front of him. Off Anthony, weight of the world on his shoulders, we end the sequence. Interior brothel dawn. A jangling of coins as Anthony fishes out some money, leaving it next to another courtesan who's fast asleep in bed before he heads out. Exterior Hyde Park dawn. A numb-looking Anthony's on his horse. He's vacant, just going through these motions, and he's deep in his ennui until a horse suddenly bolts past him, startling him out of his daze. He partially glimpses the rider, hair tumbling loose from her hooded cloak. Wait, is that a woman? Riding astride?
Whoa there.
But the mystery rider isn't looking back, and so a concerned Anthony spurs his horse into action and takes off after her, ducking tree branches, veering around the bend, chasing hard.
Fear not, I shall stop him.
But that only seems to make our mystery rider lean forward, spurring her horse to gallop that much faster, racing ahead. Anthony's confused until he wonders, is this a challenge? And so he bears down, speeding after her. Hooves thunder as the two horses bolt across a picturesque field, the sun just rising over the mist now. And he's almost caught up to her until a hedgerow looms up ahead.
Careful now.
Anthony watches. Is she going to stop? And they're just about there when the female rider jumps the hedge, soaring over the obstacle and landing easily, as Anthony yanks on his reins, pulling up his horse at the last minute. He pauses, breathless and a bit invigorated. Who the hell was that? And we get our answer when we catch up to our mystery rider, now pulling her horse up and turning to reveal that this is Kathryn Kate Sharma, 26, a certain confidence that belies her age. She peers back toward the hedgerow, only Anthony's fallen out of sight. And off a satisfied and equally invigorated Kate, spurring her horse on and trotting away. Exterior Hyde Park woods dawn. As Kate hurries her horse underneath this canopy of trees, looking behind her to make sure she's now by herself. And just as she seemingly gets back to enjoying the quiet...
Enjoying your victory lap?
Kate looks up. Him. Emerging from around a tree just ahead. Startled, she quickly looks for an escape.
Opry.
You will... Oh, sorry.
You will not be afforded such an ample head start this time, I assure you.
And now he's close enough to really see her. She forces a smile.
Apologies, sir. I did not mean to cause anyone concern.
I shall escort you back to town.
I do not need an escort.
You already have one then? Does your maid know you are riding astride?
I have no maid.
Ah, then you are married.
That assumption seems to wipe the faint smile from Kate's face. Anthony clocks it.
Forgive me, then you are lost?
I am not lost either.
And she's irritated now because these questions. Still, she breathes.
On my way back to Mayfair. It is just ahead.
Mayfair, well then.
I appreciate your attention, sir, but I assure you I am perfectly safe. So perhaps we can pretend that this encounter never took place. You allow me to go my way, and you go yours.
He holds her gaze.
You worry about being seen.
I worry about meeting strange men in parks at dawn who fail to leave me alone with all of their questions.
Your secret is safe with me. I shall not tell a soul.
How grateful I am.
Losing races to strange women in such parks at dawn, I can only imagine the questions I would have to answer.
And we see that elicit that tiniest of smiles from Kate. Anthony is rather charming.
Is that what this was? A race?
Was it not?
It does not one need actual competition for a race.
You could say that if we had decided on a finish line together, but alas, we made no such agreement.
A bead.
I see you're not one for losing.
I shall have you know that in the rare instances it occurs, I have no difficulty in admitting when I have either lost or am in the wrong, though I am afraid the same cannot be said for you.
Beg your...
Mayfair is not just ahead. It is the other way entirely. Not lost, you said?
And Kate slows. A begrudging nod until she suddenly spots a pair of riders on the path ahead.
Good day, sir.
She wheels her horse around. Anthony startled.
We have not yet been introduced.
I'm afraid that's not possible. Not when I have a victory lap to enjoy.
And with a small smile, she goes, off Anthony, also cracking a smile for what's probably the first time in a long time, as he watches her gallop away. Exterior Danbury House morning. As the morning sun makes the crown jewel of Park Lane shine, interior Danbury House morning room morning. Appropriate. A lovely pianoforte melody floats through the air before we find Lady Danbury at the keys. Lost in her beautiful playing, she finishes, pleased, and a footman enters.
Your guests are in the drawing room, my lady.
And they already keep such good time.
As she smiles excitedly, we cut to interior Danbury House drawing room morning, as Mary Sharma, 40s, nervous and fidgety, whispers with her daughter Edwina, 18, buzzing with gleeful energy and wonder.
What do you mean she was not in her room?
I went to find her after awakening, but she was not there.
Lady Mary!
They turn to find a beaming Lady Danbury entering.
Lady Danbury! How delightful it is to see you!
Oh, and you, after all these years, you look well.
And Mary just nods, quickly offering up.
Oh, allow me to introduce you to you, my youngest, Miss Edwina Sharma.
Edwina curtsies prettily.
A true pleasure, Lady Danbury. I am so grateful for your hospitality, your home. It is magnificent.
Consider it yours for the season, though I was expecting another.
Yes, my eldest, Kate.
Kate, yes.
And there's an awkward beat of silence.
Well, she did get off the ship with you last night, did she not?
Apologies.
They turn to see Kate hurrying in, a bit rumpled, a bit smudged from her ride, but she's trying her best to cover.
Kate! There you are, dearest.
I hope I did not keep you waiting long. The gardens here are so lovely. After such a lengthy journey, I found that I wanted some freshness and morning air. But I'm here now.
And Kate exchanges a furtive glance with Edwina, who motions at the bit of mud on Kate's hem. Kate shifts, trying to obscure it, just as Lady Danbury just eyes her.
My eldest, Lady Danbury, Miss Kate Sharma.
Well, now that we have all arrived,
Almost.
I beg your pardon.
We have almost all arrived. There is also Newton. Is he upstairs?
And off Lady D's curious expression, who the fuck is Newton? We smash to interior Danbury House drawing room morning. Close on Newton, who happens to be a fat corgi, now sitting in Kate's lap. A distracted Lady D eyes the dog as Mary and Edwina sip their tea.
Mama tells us that you host the first ball of every season, Lady Danbury.
Oh, yes. I have appropriated a conservatory for this year's festivities.
Did you hear that, Edwina?
Well, that sounds delightful.
It will make for a most spectacular entrance to society indeed. I cannot tell you how eager the young ladies are for the upcoming season.
As am I. I would have ensured their presentation to Her Majesty the Queen, but I thought it wise for me to examine their deportment prior to their first engagement. Her Majesty is most discerning, you understand.
Mary blanches, suddenly uncomfortable.
So Her Majesty will be in attendance then at the ball.
And Kate's eyes also flash to Lady D, who offers Mary a nod.
There's no reason for concern, Lady Mary. You will be with me, after all.
Of course.
Now, I have made all the arrangements. The pinafore is tuned, instructors hired, dance lessons begin at noon. Followed by a short but comprehensive visit from a lovely French tutor I have secured. Well, stand up, both of you.
Kate and Edwina stand. Newton squirms in Kate's arms.
Could you?
Oh, of course.
And she hands Newton to Mary. Lady D appraises.
Exceptional posture. Beautiful smiles.
Yes, they are quite.
Of course, the age of the elder miss may raise concern. Any suitable man will require some persuading, whether we like it or not, as she will already be considered an old maid at the mature age of
26, ma'am. But it should be truly of no concern, as I assure you I am not here to find a husband for myself. I am only here for my sister, who indeed stands quite tall and smiles rather exquisitely, even more so when she speaks French, I always think.
Kate nods to Edwina.
I have been studying French since I was 10 years old, Lady Danbury, and I am most excited to share my language skills with you and anyone else who wishes to hear them.
Lady Danbury is impressed, if not a little surprised.
She's also accomplished in both Latin and Greek, in addition to Marathi and Hindustani, of course. She not only plays the sitar and maruli, but pianoforte too, and as for her dancing, well, it is quite remarkable if I do say so myself. And I do say so, considering it was I who taught my sister the cotillion, the quadrille, and the waltz. Self-taught, naturally. But as I said, quite remarkable nonetheless.
Kate beams proudly. Lady D wants to be thrilled. She really does. But with this little know-it-all right here, Mary shifts, clocking Lady D's reaction.
Kate feels quite passionately about her sister's prospects this season.
I do hope you did not go to too much trouble finding all those instructors.
Oh, not at all.
But we were hoping for your assistance with our wardrobe. I would like to be certain my sister is seen only in the latest of fashions.
Oh, I have seen to that. You will find new dresses in your rooms.
What foresight, Lady Danbury. My mamma did not err in her description of you. A woman of such grace and kindness. I am sure we have much to learn from you, such as the preparation of this most excellent tea.
And she flashes a smile. Lady D returns one, if not a little tepid, because Kate's just patronizing now. Mary jumps in.
Kate, dear, before Newton requires a walk, might Newton require a walk before he makes a mess all over those fine carpets?
Indeed. Delighted to make your acquaintance, Lady Danbury. My sister and I do look forward to your sponsorship this season.
She takes hold of Newton as well as her sister's hand and heads out.
Wherever did you go this morning?
Shh, it does not matter.
Off a nonplussed Lady Danbury watching them head out. Exterior market day, as Penelope and Eloise peruse the various stalls, their maids nearby.
Daphne provided me a list of recommendations for a successful season. Private advice regarding the top 10 ways in which to entrap a man. I'm telling you, Pen, the season has barely begun and I already feel touched in the head.
And Pen has to laugh, paying for a new quill at a stand.
Another quill? You do get through them at an extraordinary rate.
I have been busy with my correspondence.
To the new heir? Is he here yet?
No, I only meant Colin has been keeping me informed of his adventures in Greece.
In fairness, I've stopped reading his letters. He rambles, does he not?
He's certainly no lady to whistle down.
She smiles, feeling herself.
No, but then again, Colin, in fact, has been somewhere, unlike her.
Pen tries to hold her face together, but she did not expect to hear whistle-down shade like that from Eloise.
I thought you revered Whistledown. Did her arrival not save you from representation to the Queen?
Oh, I was delighted by the diversion, to be sure. But I sat with her paper all morning. In truth, all she does is repeat what she hears.
Must someone report the gossip? And does she not have a way with words?
Yes, but what is she saying with those words? Truly, I did not mind Whistledown's silence the last 10 months, as it finally gave me a chance to read a few articles of substance. My own sex, I hope, will excuse me if I treat them like rational creatures instead of flattering their fascinating graces. Wollstonecraft.
Rather haughtily.
Imagine if Whistledown wrote like this, instead of simply turning our eye towards every newly minted debutante. Perhaps then we might find our respite from the tedious sequence of tea parties and balls. I'd rather think that the only reason Lady Whistledown writes about such things is because she is not an active participant in them.
Everyone has their theory, I suppose.
And raw Eloise's frustration and Penelope's secret smile. Exterior Featherington House, day to night transition, still gaudy as ever, even at night. Interior Featherington House, girls' dressing room night. Prudence and Philippa stand in the mirror, not exactly happy with their outfits, as Varley attempts to sew another butterfly onto Prue's dress. Penelope sits nearby reading.
But is it the same dress I wore to the Maggie ball last year?
Nonsense! Varley was able to alter the stitching just here, you see.
Ow!
Varley seems to have pricked her with her sewing needle.
Well, it does not help if you continue to shift about.
Mama, people are going to remember.
Well, then that would make you memorable, would it not? Everyone is well aware of our sad condition. Ever since your father's death, we've been a grieving family of pitiable mourners. No one will be cruel enough to ask any questions. Varley, now finished with Prue's mending, turns to Lady F.
Would you like me to prepare some potatoes for the ladies downstairs, ma'am?
Potatoes? Again?
Why are we always eating potatoes?
Because these days I am the housekeeper. Ladies' maid, scullery maid, and cook.
And a concerned Penelope looks up from her book.
Oh, have all the staff truly departed, Mama?
Though I am quite good at boiling the veg.
Thank you, Mrs. Varley. Potatoes would be lovely.
A season with no dresses, no servants? Are we to empty our own chamber pots too?
Mama, I cannot do that.
Oh, calm yourselves. As I have told you, once the new Lord Featherington arrives, we will be provided for.
Well, where is he? Why is he taking so long?
Because he wishes to make us suffer. A beat as Lady Featherington sighs. I did not wish to burden you, young ladies, but, well, our estate has been left in some disrepair ever since your father. The new Lord Featherington is off delighting in our misfortune because the man is as cruel as can be. I hear he cast his only son out to the Americas for daring to question his word. I tremble to think when he will send the rest of us if he has a mind. Cornwall, perhaps.
Cornwall?
I suppose you could always visit Mr. Fincher and me.
Well, if there's nary a penny for new dresses or staff, there's certainly none for your dowry, sister.
And Penelope eyes her mom like, come on, tell me I'm wrong.
He shall prevent me from being married?
Of course not. The man may be an old bitter curmudgeon, but he is a gentleman, and he will keep a gentleman's agreement, which is why we must waste no time finding matches for the lot of you. Unless you are all betrothed by the time our cousin arrives to claim the Featherington estate, we shall be at his mercy, and then heaven help us all.
We could always sell the silverware. The dinner service should fetch a handsome price.
And distressed AF, Lady F scoffs and goes. Off Penelope, processing the apparent dire straits her family is in. Interior Danbury House, Kate and Edwina's dressing room night. As Kate assesses two beautiful dresses, she takes one in her hands, holding it up against her body in front of the mirror, and grows pensive. A beat before Edwina enters.
I was just thinking of wearing that one. It is quite beautiful.
No, these are for you, Bond. We have come to London to find your husband, not mine.
And Edwina has to smile, teasing.
Yes, yes, you are but a dear old maid.
Who shall be perfectly happy doting on my many nieces and nephews one day soon. I shall spoil them exceedingly. You do know that, don't you?
Edwina has to laugh, taking hold of the dress. She breathes deep, her excitement briefly waning. Kate eyes her, and we sense the deep love the sisters share for each other.
What is it?
I only hope they like me tonight.
Scroll.
Doom
How
scroll.
could they not?
Mama is doing what she always does when she's worried. The gossip she endured after marrying Papa had to have been unbearable, do you not think?
Is that what troubles you? That was many years ago.
Everyone will still have questions about our family, about how you and I are related.
We are sisters. This place may feel different, but it will never change the way you and I feel about each other. Besides, you heard Lady Danbury. She will smooth everything over. She's on our side.
The Dowager does seem more formidable than I'd imagined. She will have your head when she learns of your secret morning ride. Are you certain no one saw you?
Yes.
And a tiny smile seems to form on Kate's face before.
Yes, now never mind her. The Dowager is not half as frightening as she thinks she is. You must be excited. This is the first chapter of a happy story. All you must do this evening is remember what it is you are looking for.
Someone charming and handsome, of course. A prince or a duke, perhaps.
It is not a man's appearance or title that will win you. It is his mind and spirit that will engage yours. He will speak in a manner that only your heart can hear. That is what you are looking for. That is the love you will find.
We can see Kate believes it, and so does Edwina, whose heart clearly swells at this magical fairy tale Kate describes. And as maids enter, ready to help, Kate holds the dress up against Edwina.
This one, they will not be ready.
And Edwina all but squeals, off the sisters' equal parts excitement and nerves.
And since this is a little bit of a longer script, we will take a short intermission at the moment. So you guys are doing awesome. Wow. So see you guys back in 5-ish minutes to continue this soiree. All right, that's about 5 minutes. We'll start coming back and get started soon.
I added some gold to my crown.
Fancy. Rich. So while the
Nice
others
work,
come back,
everyone.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. What do you guys think? How you guys doing?
I love the guys as girls.
Well, Angelina, I added some gold to my crown for the ball.
Come closer. Come closer. I can't see. Oh, pretty. All right. Dress.
All right. We'll just wait for a couple more.
Petra, Clint, hurry up. Race is on. Who gets back first?
I wasn't gonna call them out. I wrote
I'm going to call them. There,
direct
Petra
messages.
wins the race.
Woo-hoo.
Oh, I'm only frustrated because I completely forgot I have this really cute little teacup, and I'm like, I could have taken my screenshot with the teacup
Oh, it would
because
have
it's
been
like spilling the tea.
perfect.
Do you like a little Emma post?
We can
Jacob, is
take
it
it-
terrible if can we like do another screenshot?
We can do another one
Please?
here.
Oh.
Let me save the one we have, and I can.
We
make nice
should
jokes.
all get, if we have teacups like that, we should all get teacups and just hold
Or
them. Or the fans, yes.
or the fans.
Because this isn't quite
Wait, just show me your
the
teacup
same
again.
effect.
I have something similar to a teacup. He's old.
Should we all go get our teacups
No, I'm not getting up again. Not right
Okay.
now. After I'll get up.
later?
I need to get back in queen persona. So no.
That's not just your default setting, Heather? Are
The
you
queen
sure?
never has to leave.
No, because I just
Okay.
put gold on my head. I'm not going to move and disrupt the gold on my head.
Okay.
I literally strung this up on my head. I'm not moving.
We can pretend like we have cups.
I have
Just leave
teacups
it.
in the other room in my kitchen.
I do not.
Run.
No, we're going to do that later.
Later.
Not a teacup, but
Yeah, a cup that you put
Is it?
tea in.
Aaron, what is it? I
Jacob,
missed
later
it.
you can just draw one.
Coffee
Draw
cup.
one. And
You know
then
what?
you can
I'm
hold that up.
for it. Do it.
Later. At the end.
I know.
Oh, excellent.
I'm just so
All right.
frustrated. I was like, what was it?
or
that
my
I was
raven,
forgetting? But I was forgetting. Oh, well.
Oh, yes. Yes, bring the raven.
my bust of Pallas, and the raven atop him.
Nice. Okay.
All right,
About that
shall
time
we can? Oh, Miss Vicky, I think we sent off to get a cup, so we may need a minute.
Oops.
She is back.
Yay!
with the
Oh,
teacup.
nice.
Oh, it's lovely.
Really
What
lovely.
beautiful
Anyway,
ceramic.
yeah, we're doing that later.
Late, yeah.
We know.
We could
Later.
Yeah, we're good.
dictate. Wow. All right.
Like I said, queen's her default setting. I don't know why she's
I
worried about
guess
getting into
so.
character.
Oh, thank you. That's a nice compliment.
You do make a
All
very
right.
good queen.
Okay. Ready?
Interior Conservatory Ballroom Night. Petro, take us away.
Interior Conservatory Ballroom Night. Lamps glitter inside a gorgeous glass building, all exotic flowers and genteel chatter filling out this spectacular affair. We find Lady Danbury entering with Edwina, Kate, and Mary. Edwina is wide-eyed with excitement. Kate smiles, trying to appear the calm presence her sister needs, but it's clear she too is awestruck. Heads swivel.
It is like a dream from which I hope never to wake.
Well, that should not be a problem, as you can charm people even in your sleep. Just remember to breathe, Bone.
Edwina takes a breath but remains giddy, the lush floral canopy beckoning them further into this stunning room. Lady Danbury leans into Mary, pointing out various gentlemen.
The Marquis of Ashton.
Find a blush-cheeked boy, 16, barely out of leading strings.
A little young, to be sure, but he has 10,000 a year. Oh, the Earl of Gloucester.
The Earl of 40 stands mournfully beside the lemonade table.
His wife recently died of influenza. He might make a particularly estimable addition to your dance card this evening, Miss Sharma.
I will not be taking to the floor tonight, Lady Danbury.
Is there someone back home you are yet to tell me about?
Come now, I am long past all of that. The only match I am interested in is for my sister. She trusts me implicitly. Now, what about the Duke of Suffolk? According to Debritz, he should be quite the catch this year.
Ah, there she is.
Oh, sorry. And that she is apparently the queen, just over there.
So soon, Lady Danbury.
Lady D takes Mary's hand, encouraging, leading the group over. Even Kate seems to shrink for a brief moment.
So many flowers when what I really seek is a gem. Lady Danbury, a delightful soiree as expected. But you do know how it will be no match for my own later this week.
Oh, Your Majesty, I would not think to compare.
And rightly so.
They smile. Good friends, these two.
Oh, Your Majesty, may I present Lady Mary Sharma, whom you must remember. And may I present her daughters, Miss Sharma, Miss Edwina Sharma.
And they all make their deep curtsies as Lady Danbury beams.
My personal special guest for this season.
A high honor indeed. I hear you have made quite a journey to join us again after all these years, Lady Mary. If only you had extended the courtesy of offering your queen a final farewell before you left.
And the queen moves off just as Mary lowers her eyes. Kate shifts, but Lady Danbury just smiles.
Oh, I do relish a challenge.
Lady D puts on her game face as a worried Kate looks to Mary, who's just staring at all these faces currently giving her the side eye, like Lady Featherington, who chats with Lady Eaton and Lady Cowper, Cressida in tow as Penelope lingers. Is that Lady Mary Sheffield? Sharma, or whatever the name is. I am surprised she would show her face here again.
Oh, a scandal, Mamma? Oh, Lady Mary was the incomparable of our season until she fell in love with and married some kind of clerk, I hear. Oh, the two of them absconded to India thereafter.
A Maharaja I would have understood, but the man was no more than a common worker who already had a child.
Oh, that must be her, the older one. Lady Cowper nods.
Lady Mary's parents, the Sheffields, never lived down the shame, did they?
Too ashamed to show their faces in London. They have not left their country seat in years because of it.
If only every family could be as respectable as ours. Yes, Lady Featherington?
And Lady F has to smile tightly as she sees Mr. and Mrs. Finch arriving with Albion. Philippa rushes over to meet him.
Oh, my love, you are a vision.
And he sneezes violently. Philippa adoringly produces a handkerchief as Lady F steps away from the Cowpers.
Miss Finch.
Oh, my apologies, I'm Mrs. I forgot. Lady Featherington, it's a delightful surprise to see you in attendance. I don't know who Mr. Finch is, though. Who's my husband? Anyone? Oh my God, I'm single. It's okay.
After such
a long.
Oh God, I've got 3 now.
Nice.
fighting
It's
over.
hard to get there.
Oh, many husbands you have.
After
I
such
was
a
gonna jump
long
in there,
mourning
too.
period, almost as long as our son has been courting Philippa, if you can imagine.
Yes, it has been a difficult time indeed. Darkness has been our candle in recent months.
Have you come unoccupied? Or has the new heir finally come to manage this unsettled business of your daughter's dowry?
And Lady F pauses, also looking around, but only to make sure no one's paying them much attention. And then... Unsettled, that is the precise word, Mr. Finch, as I, too, have been quite unsettled indeed. Shaken to the bone, in fact, by grief, missing my dear, very dead husband. Tears in her eyes, and they seem to work. I told you it was too soon.
You told me you wished for the boy to be out of our house.
Our apologies, Lady Featherington. Do let us know when you are more settled. Yes? Lady F just dabs at her eyes, mustering a nod. The Finches go, and the waterworks stop on a dime. On an exasperated Lady F, we angle on the Bridgertons, Violet with Eloise, Antony, and Benedict just arriving.
Stop fussing with your dress.
You look lovely, dear.
Look like a prize calf, dressed up for auction.
No.
Violet swats him.
Even Daphne felt most apprehensive after her first official ball, and look how well her season turned out.
The baby-faced Marquis approaches. Eloise clocks him, tensing up. Benedict leans in.
Come, sister. The cakes at these occasions are surprisingly good.
Thankful for the save, Eloise links arms with Ben before Violet can stop them. Anthony looks around, frowning.
It truly is a sparse crop. Sparse.
I am sure there is someone here who will charm you. After all, this is the season the Viscount intends to find a wife.
She announces that part loudly, and sure enough, it's bait in the water. Mamaz and Deb snap to attention. Eyes widen, jaws drop. Violet beams, nodding to all. Antony glares.
You honestly just did that.
Oh, I believe I did.
A sharp mama pushes her nervous daughter forward as other mamas start to swarm around a beleaguered Anthony. Off the hive, we move to find the Sharmas and Lady Danbury across the room. Suddenly, Kate spots Anthony, her eyes widening in recognition.
I know that gentleman.
Who?
The Viscount? Oh, I do not believe I have yet made an introduction.
Kate catches herself. She can't reveal she was out riding.
Of course, it must be my mistake.
Oh, though you do have quite the eye. Viscount Bridgerton is wealthy, well-connected, and from one of the town's most illustrious families, apparently hoping to marry this season. He may very well be our most eligible bachelor indeed.
He is very handsome.
Yes, I suppose he is.
And she's playing it cool, just as Lady Danbury spots.
Lord Corning, I was hoping to see you this evening. Allow me to introduce you to Miss Sharma and Miss Edwina Sharma.
It is a pleasure. Miss Edwina, would you honor me with a dance?
But Edwina only looks to Kate for approval. Corning's a little confused.
Corning, you said.
The Baron Corning, yes.
And Kate reluctantly gives Edwina a nod.
I would be delighted, my lord.
As Edwina and Corning head to the floor, Lady D glares at Kate like, WTF?
I do not recall reading of Lord Corning's family in my research.
It does not matter what you have and have not read. It is unacceptable here for a young lady to decline a dance with a gentleman unless she is already reserved by another. Now, I see we have much to learn.
And she motions for a chastened Kate to follow, just as we clock Kate's eyes falling back to where she saw Anthony. Only now, he's gone. Off Kate, following Lady D, interior conservatory hallway night. As Penelope, blending in with the bright florals lining this corridor, eavesdrops on two footmen. And they say Millicent's has a whelp in the county. Spitting image of his father.
There you are.
Pen startles as Eloise joins her.
Oh, Pen. I'm so glad to see you. Mama is already being insufferable.
At least she did not see fit to dress you as a sunflower. I declare that a bee keeps mistaking me for the real thing.
And now they're intercepted by Lord Stanley and Cho.
Lord Stanley?
And
Lord Stanley. Miss Bridgerton, may I request your next dance?
Or might I accompany you to fetch some lemonade? You seem parched.
How can you tell? Is she wilting?
Or punch, if you prefer.
It was a plant pun, if you were wondering.
He was not. Penelope is utterly invisible to the men.
Apologies, gentlemen. I regret to inform you that my dance card is already full.
She waves it at them and whisks Penelope away. A confused Pen grabs Elle's dance card and holds it up.
Lord Byron, Wellington, Eloise, these names are false.
I am merely following my sister's valuable advice. She told me that it is of the utmost importance for a lady's dance card to be filled with all of the right names.
Eloise?
Eloise quickly hides the dance card as Violet approaches.
There you are, dear. Come there. There's someone I would like you to meet.
And she grabs Eloise by the hand. As Elle throws a look back to Pen, kill me now. Off Pen, offering an encouraging nod before spotting those chatty footmen again. Interior conservatory ballroom night. As Edwina twirls the night away, we find Kate watching her sister from the sidelines like a worried chaperone. Only then, Anthony comes into her view with his partner on the dance floor too. Kate suddenly shrinks back, starting to move along the perimeter, watching him closely. He doesn't exactly look happy out there, probably because his partner, the nervous Deb, is stepping all over his toes. She looks at him pleadingly as Anthony decides to relieve the poor girl and bow from the dance early. Kate steps behind a group of people, trying not to be seen, as Anthony heads out to the terrace. Kate looks to Edwina once more, seemingly settled into her dance and in no need of assistance. Off Kate, deciding to leave her watchful post and head for that terrace. Exterior conservatory terrace night. Anthony, tense, takes a deep breath. A group of gentlemen is nearby. Lord Stanley, Cho, and Fife.
Bridgerton, I owe you a drink.
whatever for.
With you as the prize catch of the season, the rest of us will receive a respite from marriage. Marriage-minded mamas this season, indeed.
Unseen by them, Kate steps out onto the terrace. The men are hidden from view by a floral screen, but she hears their voices as they banter, locker room style.
Enjoy your freedom while it lasts. You two will soon submit to this ridiculous rigmarole of courtship, squaring every eligible miss around town until you are barely able to see straight. Quietly. Don't you think?
Is one lady unlike any other? Simply pick the least objectionable, get her wed, bed, and bred. Then you can return to more pleasurable pursuits.
And more pleasurable partners?
They laugh as behind the flowers, Kate moves closer.
You may be cavalier, but if I must leg shackle myself in marriage, the lady in question should have more to recommend her.
Do not tell us you're hoping for a love match.
Love is the last thing I desire, but if my children are to be of good stock, then their mother must be of impeccable quality.
And now Kate's scowl begins to grow.
A pleasing face, an acceptable wit, genteel manner, enough credit of Viscountess. It should not be so hard to find. And yet, the debutantes of London fall short in every turn.
You want the best? Perhaps the Queen will finally name a diamond. Save you some trouble. At least of her choosing her. Wooing the peace will be a different story indeed.
I shall have no problem there.
They laugh again. Lord Fife takes out his pipe, then pats his pockets. No tobacco.
Smoking room, gentlemen.
I shall be there, anon.
And the lords take their leave. Anthony turns to the dark garden, still tense. Kate tries to make a discreet exit, but inadvertently makes a noise.
Is someone there? I can see.
Kate reluctantly steps out of the shadows. Anthony's expression lifts, happy to see her, but Kate is wary.
You
Pardon me, my lord.
lost a second time, are we?
And he's trying for charm, but Kate's in no mood as she keeps walking back to the party. Anthony catches up.
I was wondering if we would meet again.
So that you might discern if my wit is acceptable, my manners genteel.
Anthony realizes she's heard everything. He stops.
You were eavesdropping.
She
It was
also stops.
It was hardly an effort, seeing as you were proclaiming many requirements for a wife loud enough for the entire party to hear.
You take issue with my requirements?
I take issue with any man who views women merely as chattels and breeding stock.
None of that was meant.
Tell me, Viscount Bridgerton, when you managed to find this paragon of virtue, what makes you think she will accept your suit? Are the young ladies of London truly so easily won by a pleasing smile and absolutely nothing more?
So you find my smile pleasing?
I find your opinion of yourself entirely too high.
I could say the same of you.
Kate takes a breath, steadying herself.
Your character is as deficient as your horsemanship. I shall bid you good night.
And with that, Kate stalks away, off Anthony, pretending like that didn't hurt. Interior conservatory hallway night. Penelope paces, anxiously looking out of a window to where the carriages are parked outside when she sees a hired carriage drawing up. The driver holds up his lantern and flashes it. Penelope smiles, and she's headed for the exit when Eloise suddenly emerges from the ballroom again.
You're still out here? Are you going somewhere, Pen?
I was just getting some air. It's so very stifling in the ballroom.
Air or the dreary conversation? I do suppose this is the one benefit of being out. I have you to run off with. We shall never have to be alone.
My thoughts exactly.
Eloise links her arm through her friend's. Off Pen, stuck, her usual whistle-down routine, totally blown. Interior conservatory ballroom night. As Benedict gets into the ratafia, Violet approaches, grabbing her own glass.
Have you seen your brother or your sister?
They managed to escape you? Good for them.
Violet spots a solo Lady Danbury approaching.
Lady Danbury, splendid evening.
For the most part, there are a few guests most absent, whose absence I might not have regretted.
I do hope I'm not one of them.
Lady D shoots her a look.
You and I have common interests this season, it seems.
I heard. Your wards. I look forward to meeting them.
And I look forward to showing these other mamas how the game ought to be played. Though it appears you have already stoked the fire by informing them of the Viscount's intentions this season.
And Violet smiles, holding up her drink.
My son said he was ready. Who am I to question it?
They all must come around eventually, I suppose.
Lady Danbury, we wish to leave.
A heated Kate storms up, Edwina in tow.
Miss Sharma, allow me to introduce you to...
Charmed. My mother is already in our carriage. We will see you at home.
People are watching, my dear. You are clearly upset, but this is no way...
What is clear is that we are woefully unprepared to navigate this lion's den. I am sure Edwina's absence will only make her that much more desirable.
It's truly one magnificent soiree, Lady Danbury. We are most gracious.
But now Kate's just ushering Edwina towards the exit, as Lady Danbury turns back to Violet.
Well, would seem both of us may have our hands full this year.
Not if I have something to say about it. And as you very well know, I always have something to say.
Off Lady Danbury determined not to lose control of the season. Interior Featherington House, Penelope's room night. Pen enters just home from the ball.
Delightful evening, Mama. Night, sisters.
She shuts the door behind her, turning anxious. Then she removes her folded manuscript from her dress, starts to pace, thinking, till she quietly opens her door, making sure no one's there. Off her deep breath, exterior London, interior carriage dawn. Penelope, now in her servant disguise, can't sit still.
Can you go any faster?
Interior printing press dawn. Mr. Harris is just packing up when a breathless pen hurries in with her pages.
Hawks, I thought you weren't coming.
My mistress apologizes for the delay. This is for today. It must be printed before noon.
Harris shifts. Unlikely. But Penn doesn't have the time to waste. She swipes the cloth bag of coins on the table.
Last edition's takings, yes? 800 copies at 5 pence apiece. Sold for 8 pence each, minus the delivery boy's wages. There should be £11, 2 shillings there altogether. My mistress is prepared to make it an even 10. You get to keep the surplus for the rapid service. These kinds of delays are sure to be more frequent now due to unforeseen circumstances anyway, so it really is a bargain.
She tosses a few coins back on the table, and off a seemingly unwavering Penn, staring Mr. Harris down.
There is nothing quite like the sweet-scented smell of success. But after taking in the scene from last night's festivities, it is clear the season won't be quite so fragrant for everyone.
Interior, Anthony's apartment, study, morning. Anthony's eyes are bleary as he pores over a stack of documents.
The Viscount Bridgerton's own mamma may have loudly declared her eldest son's lofty intentions to marry. Yet I cannot be the only one wondering if this former capital R Rake is indeed ready to flourish.
Anthony sighs, worn out. He catches sight of his watch on the desk and covers it with a piece of paper. As we go, exterior, Buckingham House, Gardens, morning, to find the Queen and her palms, reading LWD over an elaborate breakfast. Brimsley standing by.
Perhaps the Viscount, like the rest of us, is simply waiting for the Queen to finally name her diamond. Or perhaps this author should take matters into her own hands.
I shall not be hustled into making my selection, not by anyone.
Of course, Your Majesty.
Take this
And she
away.
pushes. Okay. Go ahead. Bring me.
Take this away and bring me a list of the peerage.
Interior Bridgerton House, drawing room day. It's calling hour, and Eloise is in hell, sat with the babyface marquee. Violet beams as G&H play on the floor.
Some tea, my lord? Perhaps some warm milk may be better.
Ooh, are those marbles? What fun.
As he gets down on his knees to play with the children, Eloise turns to her mother.
Might I go and read now?
Though the many purportedly well-trained and bred hothouse flowers on display this year, this author might wonder if more surprising choice might still be in store.
Off Eloise hurrying from the room, Violet watching her go. Interior Danbury House, drawing room day. Gentlemen call on the Sharma sisters, Kate having positioned herself firmly between her sister and any potential suitor. And she just seems to have denied Lords Cho and Fife, now heading for the door, passing Lady Danbury and Mary, who stand watch.
The younger one would do if the eldest just got out of the way.
A spinster's one thing, but a hellcat too? Dreadful.
Lady D studies Kate, who now holds up her tea to cheers her from across the room. Lady D nods back, turning to Mary.
Do you remember all this business of marriage, Lady Mary?
Indeed, though I quite wish I did not.
Lady Danbury turns to her, sensing something troubling beneath Mary's eyes, and Lady D would say more, only Newton suddenly races in and jumps up on something lovely.
Not on the settee.
And she nods for a footman to do something before we're off a vexed Lady D. Interior Featherington House, drawing room day. Philippa sat at the table with Albion, who reads LWD, while a bitter Prudence lingers nearby. Pens at her window, along with Lady F on the sofa.
Whichever darling miss receives such high esteem, let us hope there is a suitor available of only the sharpest wit, lest his wry musings leave a young lady wilting like a parched rose. It is rather clever the way she uses plant puns to belittle.
And Penn has to smile.
Clever indeed.
As Lady F sags, leaning into Varley, the candlesticks, see what they're worth. Varley nods, and we're off Penelope, having heard the exchange, her smile fading as we end sequence. Interior Bridgerton House drawing room, a fun-filled Bridgerton hang. Anthony reads the paper, Francesca's at the pianoforte, G&H jostle for scones, and Eloise reads, as Violet peruses some fabric choices courtesy of Genevieve Delacroix.
Lady Goring was quite taken with Eloise's dress last night, Madame Delacroix. She would keep saying how well it complemented her complexion. She said you reminded her of Daphne, dearest.
I am not Daphne.
This is the one.
With pleasure, Lady Bridgerton.
And as Genevieve begins to gather her things, Violet heads for Eloise.
You do know, Eloise, that you might enjoy the next ball. If you in fact danced with someone, meeting new people, it can be thrilling.
Oh, yes, it certainly seemed as if Anthony had a thrilling time. Swept away by many a nimble-footed young lady, were you, brother?
I can still barely feel my toes. I thought you ladies were taught to dance.
And I thought you gentlemen were capable of worthwhile conversation. How sad that both our hopes were dashed.
I think Eloise would make a brilliant diamond.
And now even Francesca has to suddenly stop playing.
I could not agree more, Hyacinth. Perhaps Her Majesty will take note at her ball tomorrow.
I despise you.
Meanwhile, at the door, Jen's heading out, only she runs into a surprised Benedict on his way in.
Madame Delacroix, I didn't know you were back in town.
Bien sûr. I don't know how to say that.
Bien sûr.
Bien sûr.
What else could lost these delicate debutantes for the season? Sorry.
It's okay. You want to take it over?
Sure. Who else could lost these delicate
No, I was
debutantes?
kidding.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm kidding.
Don't offer if you don't mean it. Sorry, go.
Go for it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
Who
Now
else
I'm
could
not-
lost these delicate debutantes for the season?
Sorry. That does that mean I shall see you later tonight? I hear there's a party.
Genevieve eyes him, considering, until I have much work to do, Monsieur Bridgerton, and my art must become before all else. Enjoy your time. And she goes. Benedict heads for the sofas under the watchful eye of his older brother.
Are you and Modesty still making a stitch?
Apparently not. You have found a wife? Have you found a wife yet, or are you planning to offend every young lady until there's none left? Is your mother aware?
Aware of what?
And Anthony flashes a smile, taking out his sketchbook as Anthony smirks, rising.
I am off to deal with our solicitor. Have fun with your pretty pictures, brother.
And only now Violet's following Anthony out and into interior Bridgerton House outside drawing room continuous.
There were some lovely young ladies in attendance last night, were there not? Lady Delilah has beautiful manners, and I hear Miss Goodrum is quite accomplished with her needlework. Perhaps you shall get to know them better soon?
Lady Delilah can barely string a sentence together for nerves, and Miss Goodrum thought that Napoleon fights for the Spanish. And as for every other eager chit you pushed in my direction, I would happily never lay eyes on them again.
Oh, Anthony.
I am looking for perfection, mother, and you should be too. The woman I marry shall be the Viscountess Bridgerton, the lady of this household, responsible for launching my sisters and bearing my children. Do you truly desire them to be raised by a woman who does not know how to so much as hold a map right side up?
Violet looks at him sadly.
This is the duty I must fulfill.
He turns to go.
You will end up alone with such expectations.
Good day, mother.
And as he goes, we see it, that dark expression that tells him he just might think Violet is right. Exterior Featherington House night, establishing. Interior Featherington House, Penelope's bedroom night. Penelope has one of her hollow money books in her hand as she guiltily surveys her money stash. Should she solve her family's money problems? Footsteps come in the hallway, and she quickly kicks the floorboard back into place before Prudence saunters in.
Why is it so quiet in here? Because I am alone, reading, as I always do.
As she clutches the money book as evidence.
You are so boring. I will be perfectly petrified if Philippa does manage to marry Finch. Petrified. The word is petrified.
But Prue is ignoring her. She's seen pages on Penn's desk.
What is that? What is what? What you're writing. I'm not writing, but you were.
And Prudence snatches the page. Penn leaps up, trying to get a hold of it.
Prudence, do not hand it back.
But it's too late because now Prudence's eyes are widening.
Oh my, you little devil doll. This is what occupies your quiet time.
Well, shit. Penelope squirms, blood rising in her neck. And just as we think this whole whistle-down ruse has come to an end, what are you ladies doing still up? Busted, the sisters spin to the door where their nettled mamma glowers at them from the doorway.
Penelope was writing to Colin Bridgerton.
And Penn just looks away, horribly embarrassed. Well, that would explain the ink all over her fingers. I do declare, Penelope.
Colin is my friend.
Lady F rolls her eyes. Prudence snorts.
As if he would ever waste his ink on someone like you.
As a downcast Penn sighs, Lady F clocks her books. Are they worth anything?
What?
Your books. Books can be worth something, can they not? She browses the shelves, taking a book and flipping through the pages. Penelope hides her money book behind her back.
I do not think so, Mamma.
Pity. You must stop wasting your precious time on such pointless pursuits as writing silly letters. Colin Bridgerton is no more your friend than I am the next Catherine the Great. Now wipe your hands lest someone think you're a commoner. And she goes with Prudence, off Penelope, gingerly placing down her money book, clearly not ready to help. Exterior Danbury House night establishing. Interior Danbury House drawing room night. Lady Danbury smokes a cheroot by the window. Scandal. Strategizing, no doubt, when her footman enters.
A letter for you, ma'am.
She nods, opens the letter, captivated by its contents. Interior Danbury House, Kate's room night. Kate, ignoring her cup of tea, peers out a window overlooking the stabled horses. Danbury approaches.
Your tea grows cold, my horses do not.
Kate catches herself, sips her tea. Lady D eyes her for a beat.
Did you plan to ride again tomorrow morning?
And Kate just stands there, caught.
I know all that goes on in my home, and since you insist on sneaking around, I may as well save us both the trouble.
Danbury holds up a letter.
Correspondence from your grandparents, the Sheffields. I wrote to them before you arrived.
Those people are not my grandparents, Lady Danbury. I have no relation to them whatsoever, in fact. Yet I am quite surprised to learn that you still associate with them.
I would much prefer not to, but I certainly could not agree to play host to their daughter this season without first informing them of my intentions. That would be tactless, and such things as manners and rules are important, I think.
A beat as she holds Kate's gaze.
It seems you have not been straightforward with me.
I realize I should not have gone out for a morning ride without a chaperone.
And what about failing to tell me why you have truly come to London with your sister? I am rather more concerned about that.
We are here to find Edwina a husband.
And is that all?
Opens her mouth to speak.
You would be wise to reconsider resorting to more forgeries and half-truths, Miss Sharma. Oh, very few attempt to outwit me, and even fewer succeed.
Yeah, nope. Lady D ain't nothing to fuck with right now. As Kate falls silent and Lady Danbury assesses her.
You are living under my roof, under my care. You are relying on my good name, my connections, my money. I vouched for you and your sister in front of Her Majesty the Queen. All because I thought I was paying a kindness to an old friend.
And we are truly grateful for it.
An old friend who is clearly no longer as well as she should be. Your mamma misses your father, naturally. But she never wanted to come back here, did she? You did.
Kate doesn't even have to say anything. Lady D knows.
I have no interest in being used as a pawn in someone else's game.
That is not what we are doing.
Then tell me what stipulations the Sheffields have apparently set down with regard to Edwina's match. Stipulations which, if met, will, I am guessing, guarantee great fortune for you and your family.
A long, tense beat. Kate better start talking.
Edwina must marry an Englishman of nobility.
As we watch that land on Lady D.
They could not control your mamma's marriage, so they mean to interfere with your sisters.
Yes. They never recovered from my father's lack of rank and title. Though, let me assure you, Lady Danbury, I am not here for selfish reasons. After my father died, Mamma and I did the best we could to raise Edwina, all so that she would never know of our struggles. But our money ran low, so we used the last we had for this very journey. The Sheffields have agreed to bestow a sizable dowry on my sister and look after my mamma, but only if Edwina marries properly.
And what about you?
I do not matter. This is what I must do.
Become a spinster?
If I could marry for the sake of my family, I would. But I am not my mamma's daughter by birth. Edwina is. Do you think this has been easy, Lady Danbury? I have spent the last 8 years raising my sister to walk in the right way, to talk, and to play the pianoforte just so, teaching her twice as much and watching her work twice as hard as anyone else. I even showed her how to make this pitiful excuse for tea the English so adore. I despise English tea, but if it means my sister will not be left destitute, then I will smile and I will do whatever it takes, nod politely to each and every sip to be sure.
And now it's clear. Lady D can't help but be a bit impressed by this very honest side of this girl. Another beat.
Your sister has a right to know. As you said, it is her future.
And that is why precisely I shield her, because I know her. If she were made aware of the circumstances, she would quickly marry to please us. She would say yes to any man kind enough to ask. Edwina deserves a chance to find love without such a burden. I would never ask you to help us, Lady Danbury, but please, you must not tell a soul. That is all that I shall ever ask of you.
A vulnerable Kate heads away, off Lady Danbury, realizing the stakes for the season couldn't be higher.
Formed under pressure, desired by many, yet possessed only by a fortunate few, there is nothing on earth quite so envied as a diamond.
Interior Buckingham House Ballroom Night, the glimmering diamond ball. It is a decadent celebration that's certainly fit for a queen, who surveys the turnout by the entrance, pleased with the crowd dripping in jewels.
Might our queen finally extinguish the fevered speculation and bestow the highest of honors to a most fortunate young lady tonight?
Find Lady F entering with Prue, Phil, and Pen. Show your figures, girls. Remember, diamonds are pointy. And she pushes them towards the queen. Your Majesty. They curtsy, but the queen simply nods and looks away. As they continue forward,
Did I sparkle?
you did something.
With so many futures at risk, I do suspect this author is not the only one waiting with bated breath.
Arthur Featheringtons and Penelope heading for that wall, we move to find the Sharmas entering with Lady Danbury. An overwhelmed Edwina takes in the beauty, the queen just ahead.
Just remember, Bone, there is no one here who can hold a candle to you.
And Edwina squeezes her sister's hand. Kate catches Lady Danbury's eye, and we clock the lingering tension as they approach QC.
Your Majesty, Lady Mary Sharma, Miss Sharma, Miss Edwina Sharma.
Ah, yes. I do hope you are finding everything in town to your satisfaction, Lady Mary.
Indeed, I am, Your Majesty.
This time around, that is.
Lady Mary goes still, and just as Kate's about to say something for her mother, Lady D jumps in.
Perhaps your mother might enjoy some refreshment, Miss Sharma.
Lady D nods at Kate like, I got this. Kate nods back, surprised yet grateful, ushering away Mary and Edwina. Lady Danbury leans in.
I might think Lady Mary deserves some recognition, ma'am. It is certainly a sign of true devotion on her part, having sought to introduce her daughters under the discerning eye of Your Majesty, after all. The youngest one in particular, I think, is certain to make the kind of match that will be the envy of the town.
Why do I sense my strings being pulled, Lady Danbury?
I only mean to say, an outsider would be the shrewd choice this year. It would assuredly surprise a certain scribbler who will have never seen it coming. You wanted to shake up the season. Now is your chance.
As Kate watches Lady D, wondering what she just said, we angle on Violet, Anthony, Benedict, and Eloise entering, as Anthony and Ben scan the crowd of pretty young things.
Anyone here you have not yet rejected?
You are the artist. Do you see anyone remotely inspiring? We shall have our diamond tonight, and I shall have a wife.
They bow to the queen, who suddenly seems to light up.
Lady Bridgerton, Miss Bridgerton, such a shame your presentation at court was so rudely interrupted.
A shame, indeed.
I nearly forgot you were making your debut this season. After your elder sister's triumph, perhaps good fortune might run in the family.
Oh, shit. Is Eloise going to actually be named our diamond? Violet's eyes go wide as Eloise's face falls, and Cressida nearby audibly scoffs. Violet elbows Elle to say something.
It is a delightful ball, Your Majesty. Very diamondy. Though I must admit, I am more of an emerald person myself.
And now there's a bit of silence, Violet mortified, until the queen just cackles.
Oh dear. My favorite necklace is one of our emeralds. How thoughtful of you to know that. It seems you have indeed come a long way since last year, Miss Bridgerton.
With a delicious smile, the queen moves on. As the Bridgertons head deeper into the ballroom,
If the queen names Eloise, The diamond. Will you marry her then, brother?
Hush you.
As Eloise takes in all those eyes on her now, she spots Penn up against the wall and races towards her.
We must leave. The Queen, I somehow managed to charm her. She seems to, in fact, like me.
Eloise, you must calm.
Only now Cressida's swanning over.
Eloise Bridgerton, the diamond. Oh, perhaps now you might stop spending time with insipid wallflowers all evening and refine your circle of friends. I may have an opening.
I would rather die.
And she takes Penn by the hand, heading towards the exit. Exterior Buckingham House, back lawn, night. As Eloise leads Penn away from the festivities.
Eloise, are we?
Anywhere but in there.
And they finally reach an area full of daffodils. Eloise calms, taking in the air. Penn just looks at her. A beat.
How you managed an entire season of these absurd events alongside people like Cressida Calvert is beyond me. And it's not just her, it's all of them, staring at me as if I were some china teapot. How did you do it on your own, Penn?
I do not share your difficulties, Elle. Insipid wallflower, remember?
Eloise realizes what she's saying, looks to her.
That's not... Cressida is only incensed that even her new dress cannot hide her character.
Penn smiles at her protective friend, watching as Eloise finds a place on the ground near the daffodils and gets comfortable. Penn goes to sit beside her. Another beat.
It's not so bad, you know. The wallflower thing, I always get the first taste of lemonade. I know who all the best dancers are just from watching. I can always tell when a suitor is serious about a courtship just by how he looks when a young lady dances with another. The wall even affords me a chance to hear what the footmen discuss in secret.
Eloise looks at her.
You have been keeping it from me.
Penelope's heart nearly stops. Did she just accidentally reveal she's Lady Whistledown?
You do not have to pretend any longer, Penn. You like all of this.
And now Penelope breathes a subtle sigh of relief.
Well, it can be amusing. I know you have started to think little of her now, but Lady Whistledown is still a source of amusement, is she not?
It's not that I think little of her. When she was gone, I thought I would miss her. I thought I needed her to make sense of this world. Now she's back reporting on the same old things. Just another reminder of how trapped I am.
Penn looks at her friend conflicted. Should she tell her? Eloise lies back and looks up at the stars. Instead of her usual screed, she admits.
I can feel people's eyes on me. Every time I walk into a ballroom, I know they are comparing me to Daphne. She was so good at being the diamond. It made my mother so happy. I can never live up to that. I do not want to live up to that. It does not make it any easier to know you are constantly disappointing people just by walking into the room.
Penn joins Eloise looking up at the stars.
I never thought of it that way. No one truly notices me. I suppose that is what I like. When you are invisible, you can have all the amusement you want without any of the expectations that popularity brings. It frees you.
Do you think that is why Whistledown remains anonymous?
Perhaps.
Do you think that's why Cressida is so cruel?
No, I think she just wears her hair too tight.
Off Eloise cracking a smile and Penn eyeing those stars. Interior Buckingham House ballroom night. Back at the ball as Brimsley taps a champagne glass indicating a toast. We catch our people out in the crowd. Lady D and the Sharmas, the Featheringtons, the Bridgertons, all quieting down as Queen Charlotte takes center stage.
Your presence is noted, and your queen most appreciative. Allow it to now be my honor to present to you the season's diamond.
The crowd leans forward. QC scans the room, as does Violet, looking for Eloise. Where the F is she? But now the Queen's eyes land on Lady Danbury, and there's a beat as she thinks before making her decision.
Miss Edwina Sharma.
Lady D smiles. Kate swells with pride, steadying Edwina, who's ready to burst. Brimsley steps forward to take Edwina's hand, leading her over to the Queen. On the other side of the room, Anthony cranes his neck to see through the crowd until Edwina finally comes into view, arriving in front of QC and curtsying with Misty Copeland's level grace. Oh, nice. The crowd oohs and ahs as Penn and a thoroughly relieved Eloise finally return to the ballroom, and our music starts back up. We angle on Anthony watching Edwina.
You look at her the way I look at a finished painting, brother.
Every man needs a muse, does he not?
And a laser-focused Anthony heads for the prize. We stay with him, heading through the crowd until he reaches Edwina. She eyes him, clearly liking what she sees, as the Queen just beams, happy to have a front row seat.
Viscount Bridgerton, have you yet met my new incomparable?
I am most grateful for the introduction, Your Majesty. I only hope I shall be afforded the pleasure of a dance.
As Queen Charlotte nods for Edwina to accept, we angle on Lady D and Kate, who can't quite see what's happening on the dance floor right now yet because of the crowd.
I suppose I should thank you.
Oh, child, it is much too soon for that. You must know the real work begins now.
Indeed. There'll be a mire to wade through on behalf of my sister, to be sure. Speaking of which, where is my sister?
And now we angle on Anthony and Edwina on the dance floor. Anthony's back to his interview shtick.
Forgive my directness, but have you any thoughts about children?
Other than the fact that I desire them so? However many I have, my lord, I shall feel most fortunate. Together with my husband, we will chart the best course.
How very sensible. Do you play any musical instruments by chance?
Edwina titters, undeterred by the line of questioning.
Many, in fact, but my education was, for the most part, taken up by more serious pursuits. The modern languages, classical literature. I do love to read.
You do not seem discomposed by my line of questioning.
Why ever would I be? A man who knows what he wants is most admirable.
And she is acing the interview, leaving Anthony a bit stumped, rather taken by Edwina's glow.
Is your father in attendance? I should like to speak with him.
Sadly, my father died years ago.
Ah, I am so sorry, as did mine.
Anthony's eyes fill with knowing sympathy as the dance ends.
Though perhaps you could speak with my sister. It is her blessing you will need if we are to... Oh, there she is now. Kate!
And now Kate and Lady Danbury come into view. Kate's expression immediately darkening as Anthony comes right towards her, looking equally horrified.
Lord Bridgerton, I see you have met Miss Edwina, and this is...
Her sister.
Miss Sharma, my lord.
And it's a stare-off, all tight smiles and polite looks. A long, awkward beat before...
The Viscount Bridgerton is a most excellent dancer. Perhaps I may learn a thing or two from you, my lord.
Would you join me in the retiring room, sister?
And she doesn't wait for an answer. Instead, she's sweeping Edwina away, and Anthony's watching them go just as Violet sidles up next to him.
She is a lovely diamond, dearest.
Indeed, she is who I shall marry.
As we catch up to Kate and Edwina...
Is something wrong? Did I...
Everything is wrong. You are not to go near that man, do you understand, Bon? There are a few things I need to make you aware of.
And we're off Kate, glancing over her shoulder to scowl at a rather confident-looking Anthony Bridgerton.
Color, clarity, carrot. Cut, as long last the Queen has named her most precious stone.
Interior Featherington House entry night. A downtrodden Lady F, Prue, Phil, and Penn return home.
Perhaps I did not show my figure enough.
Only now they all stop because trunks and trunks of luggage fill the foyer.
Philippa. What
What is all this?
Ma'am, he is here, the new Lord Featherington.
And sure enough, coming down the stairs is Jack Featherington. Only he's closer to 40 than 60. And also, he's extremely good looking.
Lady Featherington, that still work if we're not married? Rather strange.
And he smiles the cheekiest of smiles, all unassuming swagger and style.
I thought the air was old.
I thought the air was ugly.
Ladies.
It is quite all right. You must mean my father, and no offense taken, he was ugly and very old. So old that, well, he died. I'm terribly sorry for my late arrival. I made the trip from America, but don't worry. I've already started taking care of things. Philippa, that must be you. Your dowry to that fine Finch fellow is paid. The late Lord's books are on their way to me now, and I even took the liberty of having your possessions moved from your bedchamber, Lady Featherington. Yes, still strange.
You had my possessions moved.
I shall be taking over those rooms. Now that the home is mine, you understand, yes?
Lady F can barely muster a response, walking Jack float over to his valet. Pen leans into her mother.
It's like you said, Mama. The new Lord Featherington is here to provide.
Off Lady F, forcing a smile and a relieved-looking Pen. Exterior Mayfair day, as delivery boys hand out fresh whistledowns and the Ton eagerly pays for them.
Wow, this author finds Miss Edwina Sharma to be an exceptional young lady. It is about time I use these pages of record for something else. A shift.
Interior Bridgerton House, Eloise's room morning. Eloise reads LWD, ignoring Violet and a maid tucking her into a brand new dress.
Is the entire practice of naming a diamond not, well, rather ridiculous? Should a woman not be valued for so much more than her dancing for comportment? Should we not value a woman instead for her candor, her character, her true accomplishments? What do you think, Eloise?
I love it.
Said without looking up from Whistledown at all, as a small smile crosses her face. Exterior Buckingham House Gardens morning. Queen Charlotte reads LWD at breakfast.
Perhaps if the Queen abandoned this absurdity, that is the diamond, we would all see that a woman can be so much more, that she can truly sparkle from within.
And as Brimsley clocks Her Majesty's fallen face.
What is it, Your Majesty?
She begins to fold up her paper.
Edwina Sharma, my diamond. It seems she will need to do more for me this season than simply sparkle.
Off a scheming queen and this renewed vendetta, we have our end of episode. Brava! So well done.
Well, that was
Well
fun.
done. Yes.
I hope I maintained the accents.
You were fine.
I know, I was all over the place.
You were fine.
All right.
You guys are juggling, what, 12 characters each?
We'll do our outros and then our teacup pictures. If you guys want.
Oh, yeah, I gotta go get mine, I guess.
Fabulous.
Okay. As Vicky brings her up, we'll let her do her outro and tell people who she is, where they can find her, what she does and wants to do, etc., etc.
Hi, I'm Vicky Dykes. I'm an actress and I live in Penhold, Alberta. And I had such a blast tonight. I hadn't heard of Bridgerton until finding out we were doing this. So I watched this episode on Saturday and I love period pieces. This is awesome. It's like taking Shakespeare and modern times and kind of going, yeah, there you go. It's really good. Oh, and where can you find me? Oh, wait, on social media, I'm on Facebook under my name, Vicky Dykes, and I'm also on Instagram. I'm YogaGramma7.
Excellent. Yeah, it's interesting. This period piece has like modern music in it and stuff, as well as other things we'll talk about afterwards. And next on my right is Kat.
Hi, I'm Kat D Wilson, and I am a stay-at-home mom. And I actually do admin a Shakespeare reading site. So I read Shakespeare most 2 or 3 times a month. It's called Two Households in Fair Corona. Started in April 2020, so hence the name. What else? Oh, where else can you find me? You can find me on Facebook. It's Kathryn D Wilson. And this is my first time reading with the group. Thank you very much for giving me a chance to read.
Thank you for
Thank you for joining us. You did wonderfully. Bravo.
Yes, wonderful.
Lovely,
Bravo,
lovely.
bravo. And we'll put that link, if you get it to us, in the description of the video, if you want. And we have Angel Peterson.
Hi, I'm Angel. You can find me on a deserted island somewhere, I wish. In my bedroom. Yeah, find me on Table Read Tuesday. I'm still writing and other stuff. What else am I doing? I'm doing some freelance editing, video editing. Yeah, video editing, screenwriting. That's about mostly what takes my time looking for work.
That all can take a lot of time. Is there anywhere you want people to find you other than deserted islands and your bedroom? So, you know.
I mean, only certain. Facebook. And well, it's really hard to find me on Facebook. So just, I don't know. I really don't know. Instagram, probably. Angel CDP. It's my initials.
All right. And Roger Anthony. Still muted.
Roger
Sorry.
is muted.
Everyone was
There you
brilliant,
are.
outstanding. Everyone. Actor, writer, director, producer, singer, musician. Yeah, based on the East Coast, between Atlanta and New York, and I could be found on Instagram at Roger Anthony D.
All right. The D. And her queen herself, her majesty, Heather Lee Cameron.
Hello, my name is Heather Lee Cameron, and I'm an actor, I'm a writer, I'm an independent filmmaker, and I'm a family history research student from Lethbridge, Alberta, but I'm also a dual citizen of Canada and the United States, thanks to my mother. I don't have any really projects going on right now, but tomorrow is the 2-year anniversary of when my very first Star Trek article, IDIC Includes Me, and That's Why Star Trek Matters, was published on StarTrek.com. So I will be making a big deal about that on social media. Nice. And I've written other Star Trek articles, but this was the very first, and it talks about some of my lived experiences as a neurodivergent individual. So please read it if you can.
You also have a really great actor name. Heather Lee Cameron.
Well, you know, oh, thank you. Well, I use my full name, and Heather Lee especially, because when I was in daycare, there was this lady there named Donna who used to call me Heather Lee. She thought it was all one name, and she was very dear to me. And she died of an illness quite young, and just I loved her very much. So I started using my middle name and my professional name, so to honor her. And the middle name is my mother's name as well. So, nice. But anyway, you can find me at my professional page is Heather Lee Freelancer, and on YouTube, that's on Facebook, and on YouTube, it's the Storm and Latter-day Saint, because I'm also a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Unashamed. And you can find me on all the other social media sites, and those links are on my YouTube channel. And you can reach out to me at my email at heather.lee.cameron@gmail.com if you have any questions or have work for me or anything else. And I love you all. Thank you for letting me be in this. And I did study a little bit of Bridgerton season 2 because I thought that was the most amusing season because of certain events that happened later.
Yes, thank you. And Petra Stedman with the great French accent and knowing all the words that I do not. So thank you for reading those.
Thank you. Hi, Petra Stedman, writer, actress, random accent generator, I guess. I don't know. No, this was actually quite a lot of fun. Having not watched any of Bridgerton, I was familiar with it peripherally, and that was kind of it. But no, haven't seen an episode. Don't know if I'm going to. We'll see. And maybe we'll see. I don't know. It's been picked up for 2 more seasons, but apparently Daphne's not coming back. So I don't know how to feel about that. Supposedly everybody really likes her, so I don't know. But no, this was fun. Currently mainly findable on Twitter when I remember that it exists, and it's still there. And Petropedia 42 on, what is it? Instagram. Thank you. Also something I need to jump back into, but that's I've got some stuff coming up in March, so we'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, yeah, or find me here. Always having fun.
All right, exciting to find out what that is later. Thank you. And we have Clint Monroe.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I am, well, I'm the guy who cuts all the trees in the back right here. You know, I'm exhausted. It was a long day getting this ready for all of you guys to read today.
That's very nice.
I'm just a peasant child in whatever fantasy version of London this was.
Great job, Clint.
Thank you. If any of you ladies out there fantasize about a greasy man with a beer belly and a beard, just come on down to this castle right here. I'll be there.
You know, ladies, there's a sexy peasant right here. There's a legitimately sexy peasant right here.
We'll be mowing the grass and
yeah, I'll be mowing the grass.
I can interject for one moment. I can interject for one moment.
Yeah.
Hopper from Stranger Things made dad bods hot. Okay, you're good.
That's true.
You got the scruff, you got the sass, you got it. Okay, you're working it. Work it.
Dad bods.
There you go.
Come on to the Bridgerton and get your dad bod.
Yo, this is a sexy teddy bear peasant right here. He's up for grabs. Just grab him.
Yeah, a teddy bear peasant.
You're gonna have to wear that outfit though. Now,
I come with
now
the
until the end of time, so that all those ladies will be able to recognize you.
So I am a writer, script editor, script doctor, and just all around creative, aspiring metamorphosis, I guess. You guys contact me if you're interested at Clint Monroe. Clint __ Monroe on Instagram. That's probably the one thing that I use the most. Clint is a sexy teddy bear present at Twitter. Apparently, I guess everybody's making me a Twitter hashtag right now.
Yeah.
Find me on that. Anyways, yeah, it was a lot of fun reading. I had a great time. Meaty script. There's like a lot of issues and a lot of themes and a lot of there's a lot of stuff going on in the script. It was really interesting. So claw game for Clint.
We'll talk about that in a moment.
Anyways, we will talk about the rest of that stuff in a moment. So I will pass on the torch
to Roxane Armstrong.
My name is Roxane Armstrong. I'm an actor in Central Alberta, just working at dipping my toes back into all things acting. This weekend, I will be on stage yet again with Bullskit in an improv maestro. So wish me luck on that. Going for the coveted $5 bill. What else? I'm on Facebook as Roxane Armstrong, on Instagram as Roxane. And in my other time, I spend my time as a social marketer for a health and wellness company, going through a big launch, and I'm really tired.
Well, you did amazing. We couldn't even tell you were tired, but you're a hard worker. Good job. Thank you.
And I'm also
Yeah.
not quite sure I really lived up to the whole hype before me with Clint. Like, how do you follow something like that?
It's impossible, really.
Like, you just can't. You just can't.
You just can't. Don't even try. Like, yeah, don't worry about that.
Oh, you guys are too much.
And now
Oh
to
my
follow
gosh,
up-
Roger and Clint as women. From now on, that's how you guys are gonna get cast. Sorry, but
Oh, Mr. Bridgerton, I didn't see you there.
Well,
I
you know,
didn't. I just need that kind of.
it was
like,
easy to
things
go
in my
the Monty Python or the Kids in the Hall way, but now we didn't want to make this a comedy. So
What was that one read where Clint did a woman really well? I can't remember.
Oh, Tootsie.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
did
it
a
was
really
Tootsie.
Oh
good role.
yeah, Tootsie. Yeah, that was crazy. That was fun.
Sorry, Roger, but Clint has you beat. He wins the award.
Okay. was good.
Oh, that was a good read.
And
All right,
now,
guys, and last but not least.
Aaron Lillis.
Is it last but?
Oh
am
no,
I
that's
the
not
last
last
one?
least. Second
And-
to
Okay.
last but not
Jacob,
least.
Aaron and Jacob.
Sorry, I didn't think so. I am Erin Lillis. I am a voice actor. I try to do accents. I don't know if I do them well. After this, I will be doing a Belarusian. I don't even know if that's how you say that. I am easily found on Instagram at Ravy13, RAV as in Victor, IE13. Just look for that. You'll find me everywhere with that. The end.
And as they were saying, I am Jacob Patrick, but find Table Read Tuesday on, as Patrick mentioned, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, group and page, and see us here every week, either 6 or 7 Pacific Standard Time. My website is jacobpatrick.com. Just like to do all things creative. And we're going to talk about this some more and all these amazing people and all the amazing stuff they did. But after we take another teacup shot.
oh, Jacob,
Is a
Yes, sir.
couple little break.
are you doing a break?
Well, we're just gonna go get teacups.
Yeah,
We're gonna take a
I'm-
picture.
I'm gonna have to jet because it's for you West Coasters. It's 12:30 here,
Oh,
and I have to
yes,
get up
I know.
early.
Yeah.
Oh, have a good night.
And
30 seconds.
next-
Wait. 30 seconds.
Can we go grab our teacups?
We need you in the shot.
Do you want
Oh, go
to
ahead. Go ahead. Get your teacup.
Teacups, get your teacups.
Wait, what's going on with
Oh, let me
teacups?
get my cup.
We're all just gonna take a picture with one, like we're at a tea party.
Yes.
So
I
get
don't
whatever
have one
cup
of
you
those
have.
teacups.
I know, me neither. I was gonna ask people like
I'll do a water bottle.
what they recommend. Which cup should I use? I don't have teacups either.
I'd say actually the champagne flute should be okay.
The tall one right here.
Yeah, do the
Okay.
champagne flute because or the wine glass. Just kind of hold it a little bit more in front of you because you're at a party. There, yeah, there you go. Nice.
Okay, do I need to get one too?
No,
Yes,
you're
you
good.
do. Yeah, you do. Get something if you can.
The queen always has the best.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Oh, Vicky's is perfect.
How's this? Or should I tilt my head? Like,
I'm writing notes.
Queen
Oh, you have a
does.
quill?
Queen does. It's fine. You pick your thing. You're good.
Didn't open. There you go. All right.
I have tea.
I want to see both my eyes. I don't know. How's this?
All right. Seems like most people are back. So let me bring up the screenshot tool.
Come on back, edgy mama.
All right, you guys are
It's
ready?
which way I want my head to go.
No, Kat's not back.
Thank you.
Jacob, how should I have my head? Do you have advice?
Here she is.
I do not.
Walking
Okay.
through the lawn.
In front of your box. All right, you guys ready? 3, 2, 1. All right, got it.
Yay!
Oh, Jacob, before I go, next week I will not be around because I'm working on a film.
Hey, you go.
We're sad, but
Right
we're
on.
extra
Brother,
happy.
working at
Good to hear.
Woohoo!
And
Yeah.
oh, by the way, if anyone ever watch Outer Banks, it's uh, season 3 drops on Netflix Thursday. So if you see someone familiar, just let me know.
Okay.
Outer Banks season 3.
Sounds
Break it up
good.
a little bit. Where's it dropping? What service? Streaming service?
Netflix.
Netflix. All right.
Roger,
well,
I'll
keep
make
your
you
eyes
a
out.
Roger, I'll make you a deal. You watch my stuff and I'll watch yours. I'll tell you where to find my stuff.
Where's your stuff?
Well, there's
Vimeo.
Endless Winter.
Is Stormin Latter-day Saint?
Yeah, I put some of my. and
Is it
there's
on
also-
your web? Do you have a website or YouTube?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. But there's also Angel Dust, which is on Prime Video.
Amazon Prime.
You do Angel Dust?
I was in a show called Angel Dust.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. My bad. I'm just kidding.
All right, Roger. We don't.
I
wanna
love
keep
you guys. You
Yeah,
guys
yeah, yeah.
rock.
Yeah.
You guys. Doing this was more fun than watching the actual episode. Actually,
Yeah.
I mean that seriously. It was
Yeah.
fun.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great week. Have a great week,
All
everyone.
right. See ya.
Good
All
night.
right, you too.
See you in a
Next
couple
time.
weeks.
Yeah, like Vicky was saying, a couple weeks, sometime soon. Can't wait. But all right.
Yeah.
Before we get off topic, because we know we will.
All right, ladies, are you ready?
Uh-oh. I don't know if they can handle it.
Oh
I
yeah,
can't.
woo!
We
Stripper
can't
gate,
handle that,
Stripper
Clint. We just can't
Too
handle
much,
it.
man.
Stripper gate, woo!
Oh, Jacob, you lost them before you even finished your sentence.
Yeah.
What do you take? 5 or 20?
Blame it on.
Okay,
Blame
back
it
to
on
Jacob.
the what
Yeah.
is it? The bear.
Before we get
We're
too
not
off
gonna go
topic,
subject, and
Clint,
then it's
cut
off
the script,
topic
please.
immediately. Thanks, Clint. Just kidding.
The padded puppa.
I
The
know.
new subject is
We gotta get him a shirt
bear,
that says that.
bear
Okay,
bellies.
focus.
I don't
Okay.
have any 20s on me, Clint. Sorry.
Obviously, it's a good
Roxanne
thing.
just wants
So
the $5 bill.
Well, if we were doing a
I can't-
real Bridgerton table, read,
can't
right,
give you-
it's shirtless, right?
Yeah.
All the men.
Well, somebody would be for what 2 minutes while they have a brief sex scene that's supposed to be immensely satisfying for all concerned. Wow.
sorry.
Sorry, that was a bit gauche. My apologies. Okay, Mika, back to you, please. Take
Funny.
the
Well, I was
reins.
just going to say, like, let's first talk about the script or the story of the episode a little bit.
Okay.
And before we go off from that, Mr. Dad Bod. All right, so what is something you guys loved about the show or the reading or the time, like period pieces, or what's unique about it?
Well, I
And then
didn't
I-
know that Kate and Edwina were not full sisters, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were.
Well,
Yeah. I
they're
think that
sisters
might
for
be-
accounts.
I mean, I don't watch the
They're
show
chosen
enough, so I
family.
don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't watch the show at all.
Well, I saw a little bit of season 2 here and there just because I liked the whole. Well, I'm not going to spoil it, but
I guess it sounds like they were half sisters, right? Like they had the same dad.
Yeah.
So,
I was noticing that, I mean, and this is like based on that first page, this is the 6th draft of the shooting script. And there was one final draft after this, or at least, so this is past the shooting script. So this is very full and detailed. So I was noticing that there were very descriptive shots in the action description. And I also find it interesting from this and Breaking Bad, which we read, that like we're so far into this season that like all the action descriptions are referring to people by like their initials or nicknames instead of like who they are as a character. It's like a shorthand at this point in the script.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Like, and I wanted to bring that up too. So I'm glad you did. But like, they didn't say like the full name. They didn't want you to read the full name every time. They just did the initials. They're like, it's too much work. This is just easier.
Or like
If I
the
can interject
lady
something that I thought
Whistledown was
was
LWD, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. If I can
And that in the
interject something-
modern language in the action descriptions, like F that, like what's she doing? Oh
Right.
shit, she got shade. It was
I
like,
can see that, yeah. No, I was gonna comment though that like I find it funny that like the type of writing that Lady Whistledown is famous for, the kind of like gossip rag, secret columns and stuff like that. In the day, they would actually shorten to just like Lord Q was spotted doing a thing or Lady C, and you had to sometimes guess who these people were if you hadn't been in the party or whatever. And so it's kind of like both shortening, like modernizing the names, but it's also a weird somewhat appropriate throwback to how this used to be. Like, they would refer, because a lot of times you couldn't refer to royalty. You could refer to them by like title, but something like, you know, QC spotted or QM for Queen Mum or something. So I find it hilarious that that's actually what they're doing. I was like, I am having so many flashbacks to Lady Featherington's papers. I'm like, which was a short-lived gossip column in like, I think 1790. And so another little tie-in, but I was like, that is really funny. Like they would actually do like shorthand for whoever, like, you know, so and so spotted at a thing, but they would use like the shorthand of their name or their just initial. And I'm like, oh, so I'm reading it on an entirely like, you know, different whatever, but I thought it was great. It was really
Bridgerton
cool.
spotted canoodling in the bar.
All right.
So what do you guys think about the characters? Do you guys have a favorite character?
I think Kate is one of my favorite characters, as well as the Queen. Just Kate is not afraid to tell people how she feels about certain things, and she's not afraid to break social rules because she thinks very highly of herself, and she doesn't need a man to complete her.
Mm-hmm.
I like Pen, and I like that her name is shortened to Pen because that's
appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize either that she was Mrs. Featherington or whatever. Not whatever. What was it? Mrs. Whistledown. I didn't realize that was the same one. Sorry.
I guess it was. I didn't watch the show, but I guess it was the mystery of season 1 is who was Lady Whistledown.
Yep.
Yeah, this is like gossip. So it was kind of, yeah, we do. But
all right, sorry, maybe we should put a spoiler thing earlier. You guys are gonna find out if you haven't watched season 1.
They're getting into season 3 and 4. I think we're
we have the name in the title, season 2. So
it's like the biggest, it's like one of the biggest, most popular shows on Netflix. I think they're fine. If you don't know by now, we try, but sorry.
I didn't watch this, but I did watch the reality show that was based on this, and that only lasted 1 season.
A reality show based on this.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like Pride and Prejudice / Bridgerton, and the main bachelorette was the lady, and all the men had to come in their period suits, and they had the little gossip column, and
Clint should have been on that.
Colorblind and multicast.
I did not hear about this. Oh my goodness!
Yeah, it was 1 season
long. Do you
long.
remember the title? What was the name of it?
We're all going to be binge watching it.
Please hold. I will look it up.
I'm a bit bothered by the classism because there was a huge scandal about Kate Edwina's mother married an Indian commoner. That's terrible. It's just, if it would have been like somebody from India who was rich and wealthy and had a title, it wouldn't have been bad.
But you also realize this is so touched modern. It's like you wouldn't have half the stuff going on. Some of it you absolutely would have. The gossip columnist, the secret, learning snippets, and women basically having the ability, especially like Wallflowers, having the ability to pick up really saucy what were called bumma. It was like good
right.
words.
It's around the time of Pride and Prejudice.
It is, but it's both. It's thematic, but it's like a lot of the stuff that is in this is very touched modern. Like this actually would not have happened, but in a lot of cases, the stuff that they do touch on would happen. You have I think the only thing is I don't know that the women necessarily feel stifled quite enough, no offense, because they seem to be getting away with quite a lot, even compared to the guys. But I'm like, yeah, you had, I don't know.
Well, they do, because the one lady was kicked out of her very bedroom just because the man wanted it. I don't hardly think to have someone have their mere bedroom, their place where they sleep and feel safe, have it taken away just because a man wants it. That's so
the heir, though. If you've ever seen Sense and Sensibility, the whole thing about, sorry, not Sense and Sensibility, Pride and Prejudice, the whole thing about Mr. Collins, he will inherit. None of the girls will inherit. This is their home. And because their father didn't have a son, it goes to the next relative. He's not even one of their children. He's the first
but they
male
have
relative.
to marry to have any worth.
They have to marry to have any worth or any property or have anything. So it's not inappropriate that some of the stuff that they do is very spot on, and some of the stuff that they do, I'm like, I love the colorblind casting. I think it's very cool.
Yeah.
Whoever, I think it's Simon, the guy that Daphne ends up with in season 1. I love the colorblind casting. You have a lot of white people, as is appropriate, and apparently Julie Andrews, I found this out the other day, is the narrator for Lady Whistledown. I'm like, oh,
what I was
I
trying
may
to
have to
do.
listen to this just for my queen. I love her, but I mean, it's very period appropriate. Just because it bothers our modern sensibilities, because we're like, what the hell is this crap? Like, this is not fair. But it's both on point and also just a little bit softened from a modern standpoint. But it's kind of meant to annoy you. It's like, it's not fair that this crap happened.
Mhm.
The haves and have nots, and the who has and who does not have has been the thing for a very long time. And whether that was by gender or usually money, but a lot of the times gender and class and who you married and how you're born, how you're bred predetermines who you wed, which means there's nothing changeable, nothing rearrangeable. Position and positioning are everything in life. I'm quoting a musical now. I'm sorry about that. But
I'm going to say like, that sounds like it rhymes.
it is. But it's appropriate. It's thematically appropriate for what was going on. It's like, just because you don't like it, and that's perfectly fine. But if you read even novels of the time, this was going on. You had the air. They were waiting for this. They're like so clinging to the edges of respectability that like they're kind of skirting it with the whole, okay, they were in mourning, they had all this stuff to do, but they're considering selling stuff just to be able to keep their home until the heir shows up. He wasn't supposed to show up yet, but it's like, yeah, this is what happened. You weren't a woman. If you were a widow and you got left stuff, you were given a certain degree of respectability. You were allowed to do stuff. You were allowed to, in a lot of cases, own property if you wanted to, and you could do whatever the hell you wanted. You want to have an affair with the 22-year-old? Go off and do it.
Really?
You really did. You really could. You didn't have to remarry if you didn't want to. You could if you wanted to, but you were kind of inured from scandal. Widows, by and large, of like a certain age range, were most commonly taken as either mistresses or second lovers, or occasionally second wives. You didn't need to produce an heir with these women. You took them to bed because they knew what they were doing, and they didn't really give a crap at that point, and you both got something out of it. I'm going off into discourse, and I apologize about that. But my point is,
How do you feel about
How many?
how do you think the script set up the season? Do you think that it provided enough to set up the season?
I do. If nothing else, it's setting up a lot of it makes me intrigued to watch it now, more so than, you know, the several years of people telling me watch it. And I'm like, okay. It's like, I love Emma. I love Pride and Prejudice. I love Sense and Sensibility. I'm actually, my favorite Austen novel, weirdly enough, is Mansfield Park, but that's just me. I am a sucker for a certain time period, and that's okay. But
And
I don't know, something about this was just kind of holding me off. Like I said, I'm way more inclined to watch it now that I know Julie Andrews does a voiceover work on it than I have anything to do with the acting or the characters. But the script is very well written, and I was genuinely engaged in a lot of the stuff on
and that
various
question
levels.
for
And
others.
yeah, please.
I wonder if they
Yes,
have like a
Kat.
dialogue
I really like
translator.
Roxanne's question there about how the script sets it up for the season. And I think with this particular one, with being the first episode of the second season and the big reveal about Lady Whistledown is, I think there's a lot of reveals and a lot of almost reveals that help build up the tension within the whole script. I mean, you have, you know, like Penn's mom asking about her book when Penn has the book full of money, right? And you're thinking, is she going to get caught? Or, you know, with Kate riding through the woods and she thinks she's got away from Anthony, and then poof, he turns up around behind her. Lots of little reveals. Or, you know, when Penn is talking about what she thinks of Lady Whistledown, and maybe she reveals too much to Eloise, and we think Eloise has clocked her for, you know, being Lady Whistledown. So there's so many like little bits that sometimes the reveals do happen, and sometimes they're just slight misses. And I think that sets up a whole tone for what other reveals we're going to have in the rest of the season.
Well, and like Kate hearing Anthony talk to the boys with their little boy chatter, and then have an instant dislike for him and mistrust.
But it immediately sets up that like, oh, they're gonna hate each other and then fall in love. And like maybe Lady Whistledown is gonna expand her gossip into like literature.
And social commentary more than
will she
commentary.
get caught? And then like in the love triangle of now the two sisters and the Anthony character.
Vicky, you've actually watched
pieces of trivia about the show, but it's not relevant to this particular script, so I shall hold off. Just letting you know I have it.
Do it.
All right. Okay, trivia one. I'll tease you. I don't know if it's not trivia, but I heard somewhere that the reason they chose to do the colorblind casting and whatnot is because the time period. Queen Charlotte herself was possibly the first Black queen. She was descended from Africans, so she was at least mixed in some way.
Yeah.
So they thought, okay, if the queen's going to be mixed and we cast her, then let's just mix everybody.
Yeah.
Oh,
So that was
That's a
one
great
reason.
idea. I love it.
Thank you for that.
That's trivia one.
They do actually in season 1, because I did watch it. In season 1, the Duke and Mrs. Danbury, or Lady Danbury, discussed the fact that the Queen opened the door for them to be relevant in society, and that could change at any moment because the King is actually very deep into the stages of dementia. And I think they kind of allude to the fact that if the Queen loses favor, then it would be very easy for them to lose favor in society as well. So they do kind of address that.
Good recall.
Other trivia.
A while ago, I did watch both seasons just to see what all the hullabaloo is about. But I forgot most of it. Like even I was starting to watch some of the season, I'm like, oh, I forget all of this stuff. But, yeah.
Well, I won't spoil anything, but mixed couples are very much a favorable thing in Bridgerton, and it's a positive thing because diversity is beautiful, and we should pay more attention to it and give more attention to it in the media overall.
Agreed. Vicky, thoughts? Get in here. Come on.
First, can we just Vicky was amazing tonight?
Yes. Yes.
Just forgot she was Vicky every time she started talking.
I know. Okay, I almost never do this. I almost never, occasionally, but very, very rarely do I bring up any commentary and meta stuff that we discussed in the comments. I need to bring up my comment because Vicky was low-key terrifying and I loved it. I just want to sit here and just watch you. I want to put you in like a period piece or dress you up in she would kill as like a 1920s society dowager, just like cigarette holder for like 3 feet and just dripping with pearls and disdain. I love it.
Downton Abbey.
Petra, do it. Write a little short for Vicky to be in.
Get her in something. No. Can you imagine if they do like another season of Downton Abbey or something? Can you imagine her trading shade with Maggie Smith? Oh my God. I mean, no offense to Penelope Wilton. I mean, she was fine, but it's like, can you imagine Vicky just walking shade? Oh, my Lanta. Oh,
let's set it up.
Do it. Get her out there. This woman needs to be seen. She's amazing. Look at her.
She is.
She's amazing. Love it. Okay, sorry, continue.
Okay, and all I want to talk about is how thrilled I am that Kat's here.
Yes, I'm so happy that Kat found time to join us because we do love her in the Shakespeare group, and we love all the direction and the teaching and the guidance. And
I've heard, lots of good things about it.
When is the Shakespeare group? Can I be in it, please?
We meet on the 1st, 3rd, and 5th Saturdays of each month, 3 to 6 p.m. Pacific time. And anyone who wants a part gets one if they sign up for a show. So.
And where do they go to sign up?
There's a Facebook group, and it's 2 households in Fair Corona. I've sent a link to Jacob there. So yeah, in Fair Corona, not of.
I think Kat is a beautiful leader and a beautiful director, and she's very good at giving us what we can handle. And
I've heard that. So Heather wanted me to join earlier, and I said, well, I'm not really a Shakespeare kind of person. I my kids love him, but I'm kind of
But here's the thing, and I will say this directly.
But go ahead.
I've been told this, that learning Shakespeare helps you to be able to get roles in other things, such as Star Trek fan productions. Because in things I've auditioned for Star Trek, you have to be able to read Shakespeare monologues, because that's what they actually ask you to do in auditioning.
I could see it, yeah. But what I didn't get to finish is that Vicky was telling me how you talk about it, and it's almost like you get a lesson before you do all the readings.
Yes. Oh, for
which
some
is
of the
so
plays,
cool.
yes,
That sounds so awesome.
Mm-hmm. For the comedies, not so much, but yeah, for anything that's hard to understand, I'll do a dramaturg service for them.
I like that. I really like that idea.
And you don't have to have any acting skills to join. Most people in the group are not professional actresses or actors. They are just people like me, stay-at-home moms, who maybe have never read Shakespeare ever in their lives. So it's
And
something
Kat, it actually the way you do it reminds me of when I was doing the Shakespeare with the company down in Indiana, in Bloomington over COVID. We would perform over Zoom, and that's how the director, when he realized I had never done Shakespeare before, he would actually give me lessons on what I was reading and the context behind what I was reading so I could do a better job in it. And I had like 4 or 5 parts in what I was doing. So what you're doing is actually very helpful to the context and helps me to perform the characters better. And I actually got a good grade in something. I got 15 out of 15 in verbal pronunciation of German letters and special characters. So I'm actually having a very good night.
Nice.
Awesome.
Well done.
Because we literally had to, sorry, this is off topic, but we just had to literally make a recording of ourselves saying the German alphabet. I had to do it, the German alphabet and special characters, and I got 100%. So I'm so happy.
And that could help with reading German characters. And
yes,
and
it's this. We had to pick a language this semester, and I selected German, so I'm so happy.
There you go.
Vicky, were you trying to say something?
Well, I was going to say that if you're auditioning for something that isn't Shakespeare, don't do a Shakespeare monologue because it'll mess up. You won't get cast.
Thank you for that.
Speaking an iambic pentameter and you're no. Go for the natural.
Clint, any thoughts if you're still with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Did you take any notes this time?
Any thoughts?
Yeah, I took notes. I was, this is our first.
We love the masculine perspective, darling.
Oh, yeah.
Even the feminine masculine.
So yeah, I was gonna try to, focus on period dialogue, and I just kind of got lost in more of the themes. And just it honestly, you could definitely see, as far as writing goes, it's very heavily influenced by Oscar Wilde for sure. I mean, the characters are there's a lot of jousting and very tongue-in-cheek insults and very saucy in that, right? And then when you watch the show, like, I know it's supposed to be like in England, certain time, period piece, and I think one of the things that they did really well is, they cast everybody in it, and but they make it like the cinematography, the writing, and the way that it snaps through is very modern, so it doesn't really feel like that. It feels almost like it definitely feels like the cinematography and just the general colorscape of it is very heavily influenced by some of the earlier Tim Burton films, so I thought that was super interesting. And then having seen it, then going and reading the script, I mean, the script is, it's like you've got your dialogue bit, which is the only part of it that's actually in that period. And then all the action description is written very in the now. Yes. WTF? I would almost bet 100% that back in the day in London, nobody knew what WTF was. That's just me. I'm just guessing, but so I thought that was really interesting because it does have that attitude of the fusion between modern and present, or modern and period piece. I really liked it. And then there's just so many dynamics going on, so many things that they're talking about. There's obviously the whole idea of being set up and being a woman to be married off, and taking on that whole thing, which seems to be one of the bigger themes, but then there's so much more in there. And I think it's really interesting that they took it as a period piece, but then made it so modern, because it's in period pieces, right? It's very easy to write in the social dynamics that happened, that obviously still happen today, but it's I guess removed enough from our psyche to where we can see it more clearly. And so there's like the whole idea of when the husband dies, right? And the mom wants to do everything that she can to keep up appearances that they're not weak because they're in mourning, right? And it's this whole idea of keeping up appearances, which is universal. I mean, if you look at, I mean, even today, you want to see it. Watch the what are the Beverly Hills Housewives or any of those kind of modern shows. It's all about appearances. It's all about face, you know, keeping up face. I mean, that's something that still exists. It's just the way that we do it is so
Facebook
natural to us because it's it's how we exist in our culture today.
what everybody posts, the best of their own lives.
Yeah. And there it's removed just enough to where you can see it. And it seems different, but it's still very, very human, you know? And then, I mean, there's like The Secret and gossip. It's kind of like, I mean, they definitely play on the princess fairy tale of the kind of stallion top class men walking around, the princess thing of all these women being bejeweled. But then there's also the dynamics of, you know, do we want this? Do we not want this? Is this okay? Is this not okay? You know, there's the people that kind of fit in and it's okay. And then there's the people who just really don't want to fit in. Yeah, it's definitely super punk rock. And I just thought it's an interesting place that they put it at. And that's one of the reasons I stayed away from it for a while. Just because it's like, is this one of those things that's trying to be forced and they're just trying to make it because of that? And it definitely is not. It's definitely an artistic take on how we can say that.
And on that,
are you frozen? Oh
no, I'm waiting
you were
to
just
do a
frozen
comment
like
when you're
that.
done. That's like, on that note, like what the things you guys brought up was like, one, it shows like that this writer has a voice, that it sounds a certain way of this time period, but then they're including their stuff in the action descriptions the way they would say it. So that's a unique thing. But also, if you watch a lot of professional writers talk about like how to write something new or this or that, a lot of times they talk about taking something that people are used to, like a period piece, and then doing it new, putting a different spin on it or merging it with two different genres or something. And that might be one of the things that made this successful. Oh, three? What's that, Roxanne? Something with three. Is three genres or is it?
No.
Puppies.
A different thing?
Puppies.
Oh, a question in there?
I was
Okay,
asking
sorry.
which one of the three. I thought
wasn't
she
seeing
had
that.
five and I can't, you know, I forget things sometimes. I know she had
You're
one and I could not remember.
Sorry, side conversation.
It was
Sorry,
five dogs in whatever the last one we did, the last read through.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think it's five as well.
Oh,
How I Met Your
How I
Mother.
Met Your Mother, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's why it's okay.
You
You
know,
just have
to what
lingering.
you were saying, Jacob, I remember the first time I saw that done was in that movie A Knight's Tale with
yes.
Heath Ledger. And
Love
it was
that
like
movie.
modern music. Boz
Deliberate
Luhrmann does this a lot. He mixes the genres and things on purpose to get that jarring effect, I guess. It's really nice.
Even Star Wars. I mean, what's that? They say it's like a Western in space, or they like a samurai movie in space. And,
Right. Like Firefly, very much Western. It's
Yeah,
like Chinese
Western in
Western in space. Let that bake around your head. Pinyin Mandarin, cowboys in space. I love it. I'm just
And-
so good.
and some people, I think, aliens like that. Is that Jaws in space or something like that? Or I forget the
Well, it's
comparison.
a horror. It's a
Alien
haunted
is-
house. Alien is a haunted house
long-haul
in space.
Truckers, yeah, long haul truckers fighting a monster in space. I love it. It was.
Sweet.
I think anytime you can take something and just jam something a little unexpected, but it's like whether it's like in the Knight's Tale where they have deliberate anachronism, they have a wooden version of the London Eye in like medieval period. It's like I love it.
Anachronism,
It's
that's the
good.
phrase I
I
like.
see what you did, but yeah, it's just. I mean, you have literally they're playing "We Will Rock You" on like a hornpipe. It was great. It's good stuff. And then you have stuff like this that kind of blends there's definite sass. But if you read stuff like Austin and things like that, there was shade for days. It's like a rainforest canopy around that bitch. It's just
Well,
like
that's
there is
actually
so
an
much
interesting known
shade,
fact. I'm
so much
surprised you
beauty
didn't know
still.
that. Petra.
What else?
But We Will Rock You is originally an English folktale from the 1600s.
It was when they were stoning everyone.
Yes, it was formerly called
exactly. That's where it all came
Stone
from,
Thee.
right?
And of
Yeah.
course, how
Relevant
could
at
we
the time.
forget?
Stone Thee.
And how could we forget Chaucer's View of the Future, The Handmaid's Tale? I mean, of course.
I'm Sailing Away from Styx, 17th century France. You know,
I know we started an hour later than usual, and I know it's like everyone's in different time zones, so it's even an hour later for many of you.
I'm
So
good. I'm awake.
yeah, want to give us a
I
chance
am
to-
going to take an exit and a bow as well.
Good night.
Thank you guys. Thank you for all my hashtags
you.
tonight. That was awesome. I love you guys so much.
Good night.
We'll see you guys.
All right. Thank you, Clint. That's all.
Bye.
Can I share my
Good.
final piece of trivia if we're about to close up?
Yeah.
No, please. That's one thing I was
Only
going
if
to try and
I
get to
can
is like
share one
whoever else
personal thing
wants to
about
say
myself.
something,
and
bring
then-
something up, please do. So yes, Aaron first. The
Okay, so
trivia.
I attended a workshop on narration for the blind.
Okay.
So what I've learned is that apparently, like on Netflix, most shows will have another audio track that is for the visual impaired description. So if you have not seen these scripts, it's basically like the action descriptions, except more directly related to what is actually visually on screen.
Oh, so
So-
like vocal closed captioning type thing.
Yeah, audio
It's
closed
called
captioning.
SAP, isn't it? Second audio something. Hold on. I gotta
Not
look.
sure. I mean, SAP isn't that Spanish? Okay, whatever.
No.
Um,
There's literally a thing called good. Sorry.
Yeah, so it's not dubbing. It's like, okay, he leans in for a kiss.
Yeah.
He smiles swarthily. But
Yeah, it's on the TV.
so-
I've heard it.
apparently the standard was to never mention somebody's race
Mm.
and also to not mention the sexual activities. So it was like the G-rated narration of what was happening. But if it was a sex scene, they wouldn't narrate it. They wouldn't describe it. And if it was a racial thing, they would not describe physically the person.
Yeah.
Well, come Bridgerton and then come Facebook groups. Formerly, they never actually listened to their audience. They never thought anything. But all these people came in and it's like, hey, we heard Bridgerton was a sexy show, but we're listening to it and it's not sexy. So they had written out the whole series. They'd narrated it all with the action description. And they had to go back and rewrite it all because the fans of the show, the blind people that are watching the show, the people that need the visual assistance, wanted to know the colors of the people, wanted to know the races, and they wanted the sex stuff.
Mhm.
So they had to go back and redo all the narration for all the seasons.
That's
Right.
cool.
Well,
Good.
not describing a person's race or disability or anything like that, that deletes a person's history. So if you're going to do something like that, you need to respect people's history.
I think
It was
so
meant to
too.
be
One of the things that they're
respectful.
saying is like I was a fan of in the reference in the workshop, somebody said like I was a fan of Will Smith for 10 years and never knew he was black.
Like, here's the
And
thing,
that
like
became
that,
important.
what you're describing, what they did is a form of culture erasure, and it's a terrible thing that should never happen.
And they were
It's
just
more
trying
meant
to be
colorblind
PC.
and respectful. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just political correctness. It wasn't meant to be eraser. It was
It
meant
was
to be
erasure, and that's what's wrong with the world. We're
It
Right, but now
wasn't
they're
meant to
correcting
be-
it.
If you will hear what I said, Heather,
Yeah.
I said it wasn't meant to be. It's meant to be. It may be political correctness, a little bit overcorrecting, but it was meant to be. The race of the person didn't matter. It was just the character being described. It could have been played by anyone, and that was the point. It's not just it could have been taken as erasure. I'm not saying it wasn't, because you're taking out a section of what makes that person, but it was more like anyone could be playing the role. It's more about the character being played than who is portraying them. And getting back to the thing I was talking about, it's called secondary audio programming, or DVS, descriptive visual services. So it's literally like an audio track that describes what's going on. Like, I think there was a section of it, clip. Sorry, thank you. With somebody did it from the scene in Casablanca, and so they're like, Rick walks to. You hear the dialogue, but then it's like Rick walks to the bar. He walks out. Elsa, puts her head to the bar and cries. It's a description of what you can't see, not without blocking the dialogue that you can hear. so you understand like the thing of what's going on.
Okay, so here's the thing, and I'll say this as nicely as possible. When a person has been cast, you need to do them the dignity of describing who they are as a person. Otherwise, you disrespect their identity, you disrespect their culture, and that's what it is. And even those people who cannot see deserve the dignity of having characters described to them as in detail, so they can actually visualize it, so they can be treated to the experience in an equal manner as those who can see, because people don't choose to have a disability, but they choose to have an experience, and they should not be deprived of an experience just because they have a disability.
It seems like
correct, and I believe they are trying
improving
to
it now.
rectify that now because
Yeah,
they
does
didn't
seem like
have the
that.
feedback
Yes, but
from the
people
audience
like people
before.
who make these helpers should already know that everybody should be treated to an equal experience. People shouldn't have to scream and shout for that dignity of an equal experience. People who create these helpers should create them so that everybody has an equal experience without people
That
having
is
to
correct,
scream.
but that
And
is
there's
not
a-
also
there's
the
a
experience
similar-
of Hollywood, where we are trying to correct that now
Yeah.
by having things like the
It's
Academy
sad that
Awards
Hollywood has to get
requiring
screamed
that.
at like a crying,
And
impudent
there's a
brat.
similar thing in screenwriting where before, like, again, like Petra's saying, they're trying to be respectful. They're trying to say, like, this could be for any person. So they're not specifying one thing or the other. But then there was a thing that would happen that would be default white male would be the thing. If they didn't specify, that's what casting would do. So now they're like, if you want this other, gender or race in there, then or disability in there, you should specify that. And again, you want to try and apply the story as well as possible. But
I was just
Yeah.
thinking of how Table Read Tuesday is beneficial. That's another really great thing about Table Read Tuesday, because we read the action descriptions. We don't just read and you guys might do that in your Shakespeare one too, but I don't know. It's not just the dialogue, it's all of it. So if you are visually impaired, you get the experience of the whole script.
I'm
Now we
sorry
need somebody
that I
else on the
got
side to be like, Angel turns off her mute.
All right, guys,
Angel, remute.
I apologize, but I have to
No,
Thank
head
you.
off. I have a puppy who has to be at the vet very,
Oh,
very
no.
early tomorrow.
All right,
And I
thank
have
you
to
for
go
everything.
bath him because he smells bad.
Ah.
It was lovely.
You're amazing. Thank you.
Yes,
Bye,
you were
guys.
lovely.
Eloise is my favorite
Bye.
character. Eloise is awesome. So.
I just want to say I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with her in future episodes, because she's kind of the rebel who doesn't want to be the married off girl. So I'm interested to see what they do with her. But that's it. Okay. Good night, guys.
Good
Good
night.
night. Good
Good
night.
night.
I apologize for losing my head. Just someone like being someone who is not of a typical culture, being othered. I get very sensitive about these issues, and I say that all cultures should be acknowledged and respected, because I am one who has not always been acknowledged or respected or even treated like I deserve to exist. So I say that anyone who tries to bring different cultural experiences to the world should make a point of respecting people's different cultures and really putting in the effort to be more inclusive to those cultures. When you're bringing an experience to someone who cannot see all cultures, you should really describe each aspect of a culture so that everybody can have the full equal experience.
Which fortunately they are working on to make it more inclusive experience for people now, which I think is
On a
good.
corollary to that, I have a friend who's a teacher, and she teaches in inner city schools. And a lot of times, her kids are of various minorities and various economic backgrounds. And when she teaches a book, a lot of times the kids will visualize the characters as themselves, as whatever culture or race or personality that they have. They'll see themselves in those characters, and then they'll see the book made into a movie, and then those people may look drastically different from how they picture themselves, and they don't see themselves in those movies. And I'm so glad to see that Hollywood at least is trying to get some more representation in, so you have like Black Panther, which has only, 1 or 2 white characters in it at all. And folks who don't tend to go to the movies went to the movies for the first time to see that show, or the latest, one of the latest Star Wars movies, they had characters who weren't necessarily even, they weren't pretty. They weren't, the Hollywood standards of beauty, right? They were there as real people. And I was so glad to see that there's so much more, there's still a lot more to be done, but
Yes.
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
As a voice
it's
actor, I
different than
find
just
it's
colorblind casting, just picking someone else and saying it doesn't matter what color they are. In this case, it makes a difference saying it does matter that you have these people and acknowledge these people as who they are. So
Yes.
it's nice to see that too.
as a voice actor, it's
Very-
become a little
very-
contentious because as a voice actor, you want to be able to play anything.
Mhm.
But now because everybody's trying to be inclusive, they are very specific that don't even audition for this if you're not matching the character.
Yeah.
Well,
Which-
it's
a plus and a minus.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
it goes back to I did mention in the outro descriptions about my essay, IDIC includes me, and that's why Star Trek matters. I ended up writing that essay because I suffered a social disaster that really left me suffering emotionally and mentally. And I thought about, do people really understand what it's like to be a neurodivergent individual standing alone? I don't think they do. So I need to write this, and I really need to share some of my lived experiences because I have over 20 years of lived experiences that I really haven't shared. And I needed to compare it to some characters on Star Trek who I perceive to be neurodivergent. And so I birthed that essay, and I birthed other essays like it within the Star Trek universe. And I must say that it's been an experience, but I really do need to do more work in explaining my lived experiences. And I've written a script, it's in progress. But if people don't tell their stories, if people don't talk about their experiences, if people don't write them down, if people don't really explain how it is to be a certain type of way or in a certain type of culture, existing a certain way, well, then how are people really going to understand? And I talk about it on social media constantly, how it is to be a neurodivergent individual, because it is a culture in itself, and it's not an easy way to be.
No, I am also neurodivergent, just to share that with you. You got
Well,
two
that's
on the stream at least.
Well, that's brave of you to share, because it's not easy. It's like
Well, I was only diagnosed a couple of years ago, so I'm like, hi, I got a new title.
it's nice, isn't it? It's nice. I was born with it. I was told, my mother was told when I was 3 years old that I should be put in a group home, and my mom said no. I'm sure she used more colorful language.
Good.
But it's like, if we don't share our stories, if we don't stand who we are, and if we don't put ourselves out there and share our lived experiences, how are people going to know that we deserve to be part of society as well?
And that's a great thing for writing and making movies and TV shows, an opportunity to put that out there so others can feel that empathy.
We suffer from the same classism, I suppose, as Bridgerton does. We're like, they're so into classism, and so is modern society. But we're not doing anything to change it, I don't think. I mean, as much as we say we try, as much as we say, oh, we're making strides towards better diversity, we're not really doing anything but talking. Talking only helps so much.
It's a start, I think.
I mean,
It's a
even just seeing
start.
Bridgerton as things were brought out of that, and we've seen other shows, again, not perfect, not every single show, but there has obviously been progress made that's more than just talking and stuff.
It's like
And
a
lot more to
tortoise
be made.
race.
But yeah,
It's like
Yeah.
a tortoise race. We should do a little more, and I think we're capable of it if we choose to be. And I'm sorry I'm being so forward.
This is where you finish your script, and then we read it at Table Read Tuesday.
Yes, it's
And
going
you
to
make
get
it out
finished.
there.
It's a very good script. It's very, very, very good.
That's awesome.
If she does say so herself.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have found a
I
list of
believe it.
neurodivergent actors, and then once you read it, you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, I should read it.
do you have some of them you can
Like
think of?
Anthony
offhand?
Hopkins,
Okay,
Really? Huh.
he's
Yeah.
phenomenal.
probably
Asperger's, I
Keanu
think.
Reeves.
Keanu Reeves, did you say?
Oh yeah, he
Possibly.
was on the list. I don't know if it was confirmed or
I think that was
like
just
all
suspected.
evidence points to
Yeah.
like kind of
I
thing.
see. So basically anyone who is a little different or a lot different or
Probably
stands
most
out.
actors.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I was wondering
Is that what you're gonna
if
say?
it'd be the whole board of us, maybe. I don't know. No, I'm not saying I'm just saying.
Well, you usually
the art,
Probably most voice actors, anyone who can do multiple voices.
to get diagnosed, you usually have to go through a lot of assessment and get a lot of paperwork. And it's a very
Pretty hard to
annoying
do when you're an
process.
adult.
And it's hard to do if you're neurodivergent.
Hard, yes. Hard
Anthony
to do.
Hopkins is diagnosed with Asperger's, if I remember correctly.
Oh,
Yeah.
And then you have more like it's more a social anxiety and things like that. But I find it funny that, not funny, interesting that some people who are like extremely or were, spend a lot of time in the limelight are actually incredibly shy, have like stage fright, in some cases, deep social anxiety, like Slash from Guns N' Roses, the guy with the
Barbara
top hat.
Streisand.
He actually did that look like came from him being terrified of eye contact and having a bunch of people staring at him, even though he's an incredibly well-known guitarist for an incredibly well-known band. So performing to like sold out venues, he's like, I can't handle looking at people. So sunglasses, hair in front of his face, shading hat to, allow him to kind of zone out and go into his own world. Same thing with Bono from U2. The glasses, which actually he loaned to Kevin Spacey for K-Pax. Those glasses were specifically Bono glasses. They're custom made with a special like semi-reflective tint, so he doesn't. They kind of block light to kind of allow him to process visually, I guess, a little bit better. But they also stop him from having too much input and stimulus, which I found interesting because he needs to not be overwhelmed. I was like,
The guy from The Doors, who would face
Morrison?
backwards when he performed. Yes, Jim Morrison. Thank you.
Because he hated what? Well, that actually could be as simple as he just really wanted to show off his butt in those pants. But they're actually looking at. I think it was Rolling Stone actually broke out some interview questions from that didn't get published in an article, and they're like looking at it through a modern lens. He may have been suffering from something like social
Probably anxiety.
Probably.
Yeah, Barbara Streisand has severe stage fright. Beyonce uses an tonality to get herself pumped up.
Right.
That's one of the reasons why I love acting, is because I used to be I'd hide behind my mom's dress, her legs, because I was super shy. And so acting allowed me to get out of myself, put on a different persona, be somebody else, and just go have fun.
And you have a script, so you don't have to think about what to say.
Exactly. It's not me. If they're judging me, they're not judging me. They're judging the character, as long as I'm playing the character and not being me as the character. So yeah, it's fun. It's a good way to get out of ourselves. And
it's a safety. I can actually
very much
gain confidence by being in characters that I don't have as Heather Lee Cameron.
I find that I stumble over my words a lot, but if I do an accent, I speak fine.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just always stumble over my words. So
Try an accent.
That's why I'm not.
Or try singing. They've actually found having musicality, if you can follow like a rhythm or a beat or something, it gives you the ability to create natural flow with your words. Yeah, I have a problem with this with foreign languages, because I'll learn them as a result of singing songs, and then I find myself kind of speaking in that same rhythm, even when it's supposed to be atonally flat. I'm like, oh, right, I'm not supposed to have inflection right now, but I can't
Your
help
life
it.
is a musical.
Yeah, it just naturally kind of flows that. I'm like, oh, right, I'm not supposed to do that. It's fun though.
That's cool. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad we brought up all these things.
Me too.
Yeah, it was a tangent, but it was an interesting one.
Yeah, and it applies, to acting and all the stuff.
Yes. What is next week's thing? I can't remember.
I think it's you.
You.
Yeah, I think it's you.
It's all you, Heather Lee Cameron.
You. All right. Well, thank you guys for being amazing.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you again, Kat.
Yes.
Pleasure having
Thank you so much
Yes.
for coming. And
Thank you for being here.
please, if you haven't, if I will post, it is soon going to be my article's second birthday, so I will post that online soon.
Yes.
All right. And we look forward to doing more than just talking about it and reading your script that is going to make a difference and help with all these issues you're talking about.
Yes, it's going to be very deep, I assure you. And I probably will take the sensitive word out, but I'm still going to make an impact with it.
All right. All right, everyone. Have a great week. We'll see you next week. Keep being
What are we
awesome. Anyone
doing
have some
next?
great.
What are
What
we
was that?
doing next week?
You.
It's another Netflix show titled You. You is the title. YOU.
Oh, okay.
It's about a stalker.
Yeah.
Oh.
A psychopath. Or is he?
Oh, no.
We'll have stuff to discuss if I'm here for that one.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, I don't care as long as I get con when we do Wrath of Con. I don't care because I am
Yeah.
evil as hell.
Does anyone have some good Bridgerton outros to say as we go off?
I don't know it well enough.
Ta-ta.
Ta.
Toodaloo.
Toodaloo.
We sincerely appreciated the pleasure of your company this evening.
And
By
as
the way, that reality show was called The Courtship.
Yes.
Yes.
Cheers.
I saw your thing. I meant to say that. So good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
It's tea time. Time for some tea and biscuits.
Plenty has been filled already. I think we're done for the
Farewell.
night.